Hello, Val Verde, and welcome back to another stunning commentary to 20th Century Fox's Allions, or as it was known in France, Le Bête avec la bouche paneuse.
Le Pénis Noir.
Le Pénis Noir. Joining me, that's Duncan Casey, is that Richard Jackson over there, sipping tea.
Hi, I'm just having a mug of brew tea.
Brew tea.
It's brew tea. You want some tea brew?
That's a tea brew.
I see on the screen, Duncan, it says 20th Century Fox. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
You could not even give me a barking ticket. So today we are discussing Alien, if that wasn't clear from my silliness. Obviously I've done a commentary to this before elsewhere, but Richard, you haven't.
Never.
And we also, when I did it before, it was the director's cut. We are going to be discussing the theatrical cut, as if that makes a hill of beans difference, but it sort of does. I believe the theatrical cut is longer. I don't know if that's a thing that I just made up in my head.
I'm not going to argue. I don't really know. I mean, I know obviously there are at least there's extra material in terms of scenes and stuff that I remember. Like in terms of like the kind of not quite an egg scene with Tom Skerritt and stuff. But I couldn't tell. And there's some more motion tracker stuff, I think. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm hoping not, because
I think our general feeling is people are more likely to have the theatrical rather than the director's cut. Though I know like loads of people own these box sets. And stuff, obviously.
And it is interesting now to actually go back and watch these as theatrical cuts, because we're so used to watching the extended versions of stuff now that I think it's quite, I don't know, it might be a good exercise to watch it how it was originally intended.
Makes a bloody change, doesn't it?
Done it just. Okay, guys. Well, if you are going to sync up and rubber up, that's weird. But if you're going to sync up your copy of Allions, Le Bête avec le Pénis de fromage, please get it all. Where are we? We're at the 20th Century Fox. So we're right at the start, and press play when you hear the now.
Oh no, so much 20th Century Fox. Well,
old
Alien.
School logo, that isn't it?
Yeah, I do like the old school. I recently, many people asked me to play Alien Isolation, and then I finally did it again because I never got it, and I played it for Christmas and I loved it, and that opens on the old school Fox logo.
It does, yes.
Lovely attention to detail.
Very much so. That for me is very much a sort of Alien. What would you call it? An Alien simulator.
Oh god, yeah.
That's how it sort of plays. It's
massively. And then there's the DLC where you actually have Tom Skerritt and Sigourney Weaver and Veronica Cartwright and Yaphet Kotto, and you're on them in Nostromo, which is really cool.
Yeah,
it doesn't take, well, you can complete about 20 minutes, but
it
doesn't take long, but it's really cool. Anyway, let's not talk about the game. Let's talk about this lovely matte painting.
It is. I apologise if we're watching this on DVD, so it's in slightly fuzzo vision.
But you know, you can't see that. You're probably at home watching a nice Blu-ray.
But it's being upscaled. I don't know what that means. It doesn't mean anything really, does it?
It does, but let's not go. let's not get into that.
I love how Yaphet Kotto gets an "and" credit.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ernie Hudson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Matt, where to start? Like, this is such a ridiculously monumental film, and it obviously looms large on the consciousness of a lot of people in our audience and kind of film fans everywhere. So, well, there you go. Story by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. It's based on O'Bannon's screenplay called Star Beast.
Le Bête avec le
Beast avec le star.
Le Pénis Monster Dangereux.
And people forget that Walter Hill produced on this series as well, which I find really interesting.
Walter Hill. He sounds like he speaks. He probably doesn't though. So, hey, my name's Walter Hill. Come down to my mattress emporium. We've got deals.
Anyway, the whole mood of this I really love. I mean, because it's so this come out after Star Wars, which was kind of this kind of optimistic view of space, and I
love stuff like that. That really appeals to me. I don't know why. I don't like stuff that comes on screen and goes like the opening of Judge Dredd or Superman Returns, where it says this happened. That always seems quite lazy. But I just like matter-of-fact information. Event Horizon does it as well, which is obviously ripping this off.
Because that's so stark.
Yeah.
And matter-of-fact, instead of like, in the year 2142, the Megamax Corporation is at war with the Schlemdings. It's not like, no. It's
not expositional, it's just purely like, cargo this, like, blah, blah, blah.
It's kind of data.
Yeah.
You know, and I like the kind of the ship that they're towing. It just doesn't look like any ship you've seen before. It's just not aerodynamic. It's this kind of strange, ugly shape because they're towing ore. So it's kind of your space truck.
It's a refinery, isn't it? Because the Nostromo is actually the little bit at the front.
It's the little bit at the front, and they pull their oil refinery behind them, I believe.
Why does it have to be taken in places?
Because I think they refine it and it gets refined on the journey home, so it's ready to use when they get back. I think is the idea. So I mean, this is so massively influential.
Is that the Mr. Fusion in the background?
They've gone and retroactively inserted it. So this was once futurism, and now it's retrofuturism, which is what Alien Isolation traded on. So the original screen for this was called Star Beast, and it was kind of comparatively very standard. And I think it might have been something that was even pitched to Roger Corman, and it's got that, with a name like Star Beast, as well.
Yeah.
And Ripley was a guy and stuff like that, and it's been kind of processed. That screenplay's gone through so many different processes to arrive at Alien.
Right.
And there are so many fingers in this, and you can tell. I mean, just in terms of the production design and the direction, and the rewriting the script with Ronald Shusett, who and you can trace this back to Dark Star, John Carpenter's film that Dan O'Bannon co-wrote with him, and even the Beach Boy alien from Dark Star, and the kind of situations from that are in this. It's kind of hard to know because it's kind of got this kind of obviously sort of brutal industrial kind of thing. But it's got a techno-organic thing, it's got loads of sexual imagery and subtext.
Well, there's lots of, even looking at the design of the Nostromo, just with like those sort of ribbed cable conduits exposed conduits going everywhere. It's like very much looks like the Alien.
Well, that's that nice match-up between this and the kind of xenomorph ship, or whatever you want to call it.
It's almost like, it's a sort of DNA that's infused every part of this film in a weird way, Because Giger, I think, designed a lot of the... Did he do the set design as well? I mean, obviously he designed the space jockey.
I'm not sure. I mean, he designed the croissant.
Le croissant,
The croissant, the space jockey ship and the space jockey.
It looks like a penis.
Penis.
Vagina. The big penis croissant.
He likes to cross breakfast, vagina and penis.
There's some lab coats.
Who doesn't?
This is it's so well directed as well, this subtle camera movement and how you're introduced to the ship before the characters.
Yes, yeah, very good.
You're given a very clear sense of the geography of the ship and what you're dealing with, and
deliberately not giving you, like, you don't get a map layout of the Nostromo, and it's like because you want people going up and down corridors, but it was built as a set, wasn't it? Like the whole thing was laid out logically as a ship,
and that's what. If you watch the behind the scenes on Moon, that's what for Duncan Jones' Moon, they did the same thing.
Right.
And that design, that base is so influenced by this.
Because I've worked on set. I remember we did Snow White and the Huntsman. You spent all day in the courtyard pretty much. You even ate your lunch there and everything. Very rarely stepped outside. So it was weird when you stepped out into the rest of Pinewood and you realise the set was just a bunch of containers with scaffolding in it. But it's like you step out into suddenly. It did feel jarring to walk out into modern day whatever. And so to be in a set like that all day. But I would love that. I would love to be like, right, I'm just going to stay here all day. It's going to be part.
It's nice that Kane is the first to wake up and the first to die.
Right.
The first to emerge and then first to leave. But sorry, anyway, yeah.
No, at all. No.
Sort of, that was the thing with Moon as well. I think they said they had to keep that set sealed.
Yeah.
So they were in the Moon base all day until the end of the day's work. And then,
but it's not healthy.
No, it's
but
not.
It's,
well, man, like Day of the Dead, they filmed that in a real mine, and there was real problems with kind of damp and vitamin D deficiency because they were down there for months.
I've filmed in bloody caves and stuff like that. Yeah, it's horrible.
So I love in terms of how this is edited. There's lots of kind of crossfades in the initial kind of parts, and this it's another example of a film that it takes things very slowly in its visual style and its camera movements and stuff, but that changes as the pace of the film changes and as things become more desperate. So in the final kind of scene, it's a bit more kind of frenetic, but through the lens of the kind of 1970s. And it's just complete lack of capitulation to the usual sort of sci-fi space trends in that it's this kind of grim, dirty spaceship full of... I don't mean any... like. I don't want to say ugly people, but like ordinary looking people who aren't movie stars. Apart from Sigourney, who's like this
obviously
statuesque
sort
of beauty, but the rest of them are kind of like Harry Dean Stanton and just always look like a haunted tree.
My thing with Sigourney Weaver, I do think Sigourney Weaver is beautiful, but I think her beauty isn't. It's what's that saying that's about there's nothing. Something. What is it? Has something about it. Beauty has something. What is it? That has something wrong. There needs to be something. It basically says it's things like Cindy Crawford's mole.
Oh, right.
It's like there's always got to be an
beauty.
Imperfection is actually where the beauty comes from. You know what I mean? It's like and I'm not saying like Sigourney Weaver's flawed anyway, but like she has a look that's it's more. I think it's more beautiful because she's not.
It's unconventional.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like I'm saying she's ugly because she's not at all. But
she come and kick your ass.
Yeah. You don't have any compliments of any kind. Sorry. But yeah, see, all of that looks like it's done on purpose. Like, why you would have a thing where you have to press 4 buttons in a row to open a key that opens a thing. It's like, it's all very kind of...
Yeah, well, this is kind of it. You could then that people had no conception of computers and electronics compared to what we do now. So you could just kind of go, yeah, they have big keys and because you wouldn't question it. But it does sell all the fact that all these things require processors in this film is what helps sell it.
It's verisimilitude, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
because everything's been thought out and considered.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact that your computer's essentially a room that you have to go type commands into, and it's covered in Christmas lights. It's just that. Because even something like 2001, which is, quite dark and unnerving and stuff in its style, it's still kind of clean and kind of nice. But this is kind of what they call it, the used future, don't they?
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like we were talking because we recorded Starship Troopers before this, and it's kind of like, it's things that now feel kind of in hindsight. But even that film has a sort of, they're sending CDs to each other or DVDs to each other and stuff like that, and that would never happen, and even that now feels outdated. And it's like, with this, it's kind of like, I still buy it, even though obviously, having CRT monitors and big headsets,
big switches and stuff,
and obviously Prometheus kind of craps on all that because it's...
Well, I hate that because it's just like, everyone would have been more than happy to have seen this aesthetic recreated for Prometheus.
Definitely, yeah.
Instead, because it's like, this is just a trucker ship, and it's like, well, does it come from an alternate past?
Yeah, but
does it come from another dimension? Like, what are you talking about?
I know, it's not like trucks now have, like, I don't know, seats made of horsehair because, you know what I mean? It's like, no, it doesn't...
Well, exactly, yeah. It's kind of like going, Eddie Stobart lorries are pulled by horses.
Yeah.
I don't get that, but it's because they wanted to do their different aesthetic with it or whatever. But it's kind of like, like original series Star Trek, like everything is switches and dials, which is like, because like Next Generation, everything's touchscreens, kind of like now.
Right.
But like it's all switches and dials in original series Star Trek, and it's kind of like that. If you think about it, horribly impractical. But like, otherwise they would have to invent a whole new thing themselves.
Yeah. I do like it when people go too far though, things like Minority Report where like there won't be a screen, it'll just be like, well, that's of no utility really. You know what I mean? They go too far beyond like the ultimate goal is to get rid of the screen itself, and it's like, well...
And that fucking Minority Report has so much to answer for, so that whole Marvel ran with that kind of holographic interface.
Right.
And that's what Alien Covenant, fucking Prometheus has. It's that kind of blue hologram.
It's like a sheet of glass that you do. It's like, but that's of no use to anyone. So it would be for like a central screen where everyone had to be able to reference it, but then it would need to just be 2 screens facing, mirroring each other.
And it has that thing because I've said this so many times, but they love to show transparent displays. It's like that's a massive disadvantage in terms of privacy. The person on the other side has to look at it all backwards as well. So it's not really that. Anyone could just see what you're doing, and all they have to do is flip the image.
You'd have to get a mirror and look it in the mirror to see. Or
anybody photographed it could just analyse whatever you're fucking up.
Plus, you wouldn't be able to show colour and detail really, because it would be. You need a background. You need to be against something to see all that. So I don't know.
Get out of here!
Yeah, get out of here!
Stupid interface. Get out of here!
Plus, if your interface was against a black background and it was showing black, you wouldn't see black because it would be. You know what I mean? Like, there's no contrast that way.
Whereas good old chunky CRTs, at least they work, right?
Yeah. Big bulbous screens on.
Pain in the arse.
Pain in the eyes.
Great, comes up time and time again, but, the silhouette thing. This is a great ensemble cast where they all look so distinct from each other. Yeah. And in terms of their writing and their performance, they're all distinct characters. You can kind of describe all of them easily. And if you line them up, and they do they look like characters in a beat-em-up game. Particularly, I would definitely play as Yaphet Kotto. He looks like he'd fucking kick ass.
Yeah.
But then again, if you knew Ian Holm was a robot, maybe you play as him. Really, Ash is in the Alien Isolation thing, but not Ian Holm.
Right.
He old and sick.
Yeah, because obviously it's lazy, but I was confused. Not confused, but in my head, it's like because Bob Hoskins died, obviously. A while ago,
and John Hurt, obviously.
And John Hurt, and it's like for some reason in my head Ian Holm did as well. But
it's weird that I always sort of second guess myself, but I mean the look of this, because if you look at the corridors and stuff in this and the design of the ship, like a really good example of something that took this aesthetic and ran with it is Red Dwarf, because they pretty much copied it exactly, like the interiors of their ships and stuff, which considering the budget they had is pretty good fucking going. Yeah, the mats in this are so good. Goldsmith music as well, really, really evocative and just subtle and just kind of there.
Compositing, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, it's 40 years old.
What are you gonna do? Shove it
What
up
are you
your
gonna
ass.
do? Get out of here, over there, over here.
I did see. We went and saw. I think it was when we went and saw that Canon documentary years ago.
I didn't go to that.
Oh, you didn't, right? But this, they were advertising this, like a screening of this, whatever. So you saw it like fully restored, like up on the big screen, and it just looked incredible.
Yeah, I went to
I mean, just the trailer for it looked amazing.
I watched a 35mm of this at the Arts Picture House in Cambridge years, and we're talking like getting on for 15, 20 years ago, I think, probably about 15 years ago. And the print was, I've heard a few stories like this, but the print was absolutely fucked, which added to the charm.
Right.
You know, it kind of felt like being in a flea pit 20 years ago. But it was, when this came out, the BBFC rated it X, and it still had... This film has been rated X by the British Board of Film Censorship, or like slapped on the front instead of... Because now it's... is this an 8? Probably, I don't know if it's an 18. It's probably a 15 now if they
That's an 18, I think. Well, that box set's an 18, but I don't know if that's because
the
of
overall.
this.
So like Terminator, when that got resubmitted,
no,
that came back out as a 15.
Oh, no, it is an 18.
I think this would have been an 18 at the time. It probably still...
yeah, no,
because it only changes when you resubmit. So
it was definitely, it definitely was an 18, because I remember when I had the video box set, it had 18.
It was the first Terminator was an 18 for years. And they
Terminator.
resubmitted it. Terminator.
It's a Terminator.
Terminator 1, Terminator 1.
Terminator 1. Yes, yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, that's retroactively now a 15. Because killer cyborgs aren't scary anymore, or something.
That's it. That was what was considered an 18. There's a Joy Division album on the screen.
It's like, one explicit use of your Terminator, fucker.
Did you watch Maniac, the series directed by your man that's going to do James Bond? Oh, we talked about this the other day.
No, I have not.
I have not seen the Maniac.
By Gary Fukunaga.
Cory Fukunaga?
Kerry.
Oh, Kerry Fukunaga.
I think Kerry.
They're the characters in that wear a badge in this lab that is like a pastiche of the Nostromo little rainbow.
Oh, nice.
It's quite nice, and that has very much a retro future aesthetic. I think the art direction on this is Roger Christian.
Okay.
So I assume the kind of crazy future stuff is him, and then the kind of alien stuff is Giger. I like doing commentaries mentioning H.R. Giger, because sometimes you say H.R. Geiger, and people say that's wrong. But sometimes you say H.R. Giger, and people say that's wrong.
Yeah.
So I might just start calling him H.R. Googer and see who gets in with that.
That is what it is. My family name is Krieger, and they people like I.
Wasn't there a sheriff in something called H.R. something or another? I don't know.
What, in a show?
It was something like that, yeah. It was like,
that is why I always
what does HR stand for?
horrible
Rectum.
rectum.
It's horrible rectum. These miniatures are great. There's lots of disguise with...
Isn't it just like a
smoking
forklift
stuff.
truck putting it down, basically?
Oh, but there's lots of... Yeah, I think so. There's clever trickery in this as well in the... So when they're in their spacesuits moving towards the alien ship, it's children in miniaturized suits to create scale, which is a...
Ridley's kids, isn't it?
Ridley's Kidleys.
Ridley
Diddley.
He actually wrote Diddley.
J.J. Abrams
Spit up.
pitched that technique for his Star Trek film, but then the scene was cut.
Oh, right.
So they had children dressed as Klingons walking down a corridor. So they pitched that technique. It's a very clever technique. It works very well. It just creates that extra sense of scale. Because no one needs to know. I saw quite a cute picture the other day from this shoot, and it was the kids in the spacesuits.
Well, no.
From the front with the masks open. See, this stuff...
Racking in like that is quite interesting.
People often criticise Aliens for departing too much from this, but quite a lot of this stuff's very similar, and a lot of the sound design and stuff's quite similar, and the models and things. And obviously the aesthetic inside the buildings and
The
stuff.
pacing is different.
Oh god,
but that's
massively.
okay.
Oh god, and
you
the
know,
tone is different, but that's what makes it a satisfying sequel. It's not just a cut and paste.
Yeah. That zoom, I was looking at that rack into the from the exterior of the Nostromo there, and it's like kind of like, you know, the old haunted house things where they would do that on the house. It's great, I think. So it's that sort of...
Something about this as well, there's nice the way the performers are directed and the way it's edited, it takes on a real documentary feel at times. It's too slick, but there's often like handheld camera and their dialogue's like overlapping, And particularly when they're having like really tense moments, it does feel like you're watching one of those documentaries where people start like laying into each other and whatever. So it's got that kind of odd. I think that's part of the horror of Alien, is that it's weirdly grounded.
Right.
Because it's this completely fantastic story, but it does so much to ground itself with its kind of dirty used spaceship and its ordinary looking people, and you know, its dialogue, and they're kind of flawed, and there's everyday objects lying around, there's ashtrays and stuff.
Or huffing and a puffing.
So much smoking. That's what I liked in Alien Isolation. There's like ashtrays all over the ship. It's like, yeah, this is the '70s. This is the dirty shit of future.
Ripley, have you had your shit yet?
That is what I wanted to get into the film, was more penises and shitting and
I wanted to
vagina.
convey the shitting.
I want to look like it is a penis doing a shit that is also a penis.
Like, good, okay, good,
I was
yeah.
saying to you earlier, I think it's from a Channel 4 thing, but there was an interview with Giga where they dubbed him and he was talking about Alien Resurrection, and they chose this great voice that was doing kind of like a cod Swiss accent, but it was really severe. It was like, it looks like a shit, like actually like it is a turd. It's like, what is that voice? But I don't really care, fuck it.
Yeah, it was like, it should have been Robert Vaughan. I don't know why.
Just would be great though.
It looks like it should be a turd. I can't have anyone with me.
They just put the dialogue from Superman 3 in. John Keegan's sitting and like,
Yeah, we've flown to Switzerland to interview. Everyone's going to dub him.
Pissant little countries.
what? Like, what's he saying?
Wait, what?
You're a genius.
Gus? Who's Gus?
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
This is a good example of an anamorphic movie. It's good lens flares.
Anamorphic.
Is that what does that?
Anamorphic.
The lens?
It helps, yeah,
Shuts
because it's
the-
kind of squashed. So those big lens. This is in
spreads
Die
the-
Hard as well. So yeah, you get huge lens flares with anamorphic.
What do you think Ash is doing there?
That's I don't remember that. It's funny
His
how he
little
kind of
run
G's
on the
himself
spot.
up.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice how it, because they've really gone in deep on the robot stuff in alien mythology now. But like, you know, between Ash and Bishop, there's this concept that they're synthetic humans. They're basically people. Like they have their own
Right.
quirks. It's not like they sit in a corner turned off.
Yeah, and the sort of the David thing tries desperately to kind of, I don't know, it sort of seems to blur the lines a lot. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, what is he? Is he the machine that dreamed he was a man? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't really care. Like,
It's just not that interesting. I mean, and
it's odd that they decided to use this, or that Ridley decided to use this universe to talk about that, because it's like, well, wasn't Blade Runner that?
well, yeah.
Specifically.
Why not just do another film if that's what you want to talk
It's a big
about?
penis monster, like, wasn't that the whole point?
Because Prometheus seemed really desperate to not be an alien film, and then Alien Covenant just sort of did this really basic, bare bones version of an alien film.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like, I don't think this is a particularly deep film in terms of like the subtext or the metaphors or any of that sort of shit, but it's just, it's an exercise in incredible filmmaking and telling a simple story, but using just this design that makes it so...
It's a very strong piece of visual storytelling, and I think a lot of
Absolutely.
its imagery is evoked through that. So it's like, and mostly through mise en scène, through set design and art direction and stuff like that. And yeah, and a lot of the psychosexual stuff comes from that. And I think this really was the case that, you know, Dan O'Bannon wrote a pretty basic script, which is about people fighting a monster.
Yeah.
And then all these different people have come in and contributed it and turned it into what it is, which is this more kind of layered, nuanced thing.
Look at Yaphet Kotto's face, it's a big grin on his face.
He's so great, man.
He's such a cunt. But a great one.
Well, these two, Parker and I can't remember now. Yaphet Kotto and Harry Stanton. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great double acts. It's just like because they're at the bottom rung and the lowest paid. They just sort of clearly outsiders from the rest of the crew. And they
There's always a guy like that as well. Who's just like an obstinate asshole. Like he's like, he
Yeah,
just wants
he's
to rail against everything, but doesn't want to
difficult
take any
arse.
responsibility for like, yeah. But he does it very well. I love Yaphet Kotto, man. Oh yeah, and we've definitely got to do Midnight Run at some point because he's fucking brilliant in that as well. I'm Mosley. You got to see that film, man.
Yeah, I've somehow never managed to watch Midnight Run. I don't know how I managed that.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't tell anybody, but it's brilliant. So this was Shepperton?
Shepperton. I thought it was done at... Well, I know they
Was it
did the
Pinewood?
big space jockey thing in the Bond stage at Pinewood.
Oh, okay, so maybe it's all
Which was
Pinewood
newly
then.
built. I mean, because that was built for Spy Who Loved Me, which would have been 70 and shit.
Because they went back to Pinewood for Aliens, didn't they? They were back in the UK shooting for Aliens.
Yeah, but they used like Battersea Power Station a lot as well, didn't they?
They did, yeah, which is in the slow process of being turned into flats.
Yeah.
Last scene where Batman's girlfriend died.
Jones.
That looks a lot like your cat.
I know. I call him Jones
Jonesy.
sometimes. It's a dog that's got a big white bib and little white paws.
That's right.
But I do call him Jonesy sometimes. But his real name is Aslan.
Aslan Casey.
And he's voiced by Liam Neeson.
Duncan.
Yeah. How's that time for my supper?
I'd like some iams. I only eat top drawer food.
I have a particular set of skills.
Also, he has.
I can lick my balls
He has
if
Liam
I had
Neeson's
any.
face.
What?
He's got Liam Neeson's face.
Yes,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Just
But like a cat. If Liam Neeson was in Cats, the musical, that's what it would look
he was like
like.
Mr. Mistopheles.
Yeah.
That's what he did look like.
Welcome
at
to the
that.
Nonsense Hour.
Look
with
at
me,
that. That's so fucking cool.
Richard Casey
Yeah.
and Duncan Jackson.
This is the Bizarros. See this stuff, the kind of this is Alien Isolation uses that a lot. The kind of scanline video.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything's so analog, and I'm happy to see. My conception of this as a future is that I'm happy to accept that in this universe, if you like, they were able to sufficiently advance analog technology for whatever reason.
Yeah,
and
or
that's it. I'm not, and I don't want it over-explained. You know,
it's
maybe
almost
they
like
just-
it's the space race was so contentious that like we literally became space-faring people in the 70s or something. You know, it's like just that it's still.
some.
I
kind
know
of-
it's not because I know the film says it's in 20.
Yeah, but it's like a kind of
Right.
advanced analog age, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a product of its time. It was made in the 70s, and I just really think they should have stuck to this aesthetic because it's really in the DNA of this series, and then to have something that's specifically cited as being set before.
Mm.
You know, and I don't give a shit about, well, it's just a truck, it's not as advanced. It's like, no, again, sorry, that's like having a truck that's drawn by horses by comparison.
Yeah. It's interesting how a lot of the like technology, even though that's supposed to be an alien craft, still has like the kind of exterior texture is still very much like, sort of panels and lines and stuff like that. But it's not. It's still,
I kind of feel like this whole thing's been really diminished by over-explaining it as well.
Oh, totally.
Because they even say like it's fossilized and it's.
I don't even like the opening, the director's score, the extended cut of Aliens where you see it at the start. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even want that. I don't, yeah. It's like I like this just being this unknown thing. Look at
The vagina
It's
is
a vagina orifice.
Yes. It has two vaginas and two penises, and it puts the penis in the vagina.
it's like Jesus HR.
Jesus HR.
John getting laid, man.
Jesus HR Christ. Yes, dude. What is it? He did a Dead Kennedys cover that got them in loads of trouble for one of their albums. I think it was Frankenchrist. I can't remember. And it's called Penis Landscape, and it's just like loads of penises in a valley, like techno-organic penises, and yeah,
I
that
think
got
I've seen
banned
those.
because it was obscene or whatever.
Uh,
So I probably think it was Frankenchrist. I'm probably wrong. I used to be a big Dead Kennedys fan when I was younger, but I've sort of gone out of touch with that. So someone's at home screaming at their computer.
Dead Kennedys.
Yeah, Amara, Dead Kennedys.
It's a big field of penises. H.R. Giga is a genius. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's oddly. I mean, like, I remember seeing the Prometheus spacesuits and thinking, "Oh God, they've jazzed those up a bit," and they certainly did in terms of making them more form-fitting. But the helmets are still quite similar. But I prefer these. I prefer the kind of, like you say, this world never seems recreated in any of the ones. Like Aliens manages to do it, but bearing in mind, Aliens is set 50 years later. And when you think how far, or 53 years later, and you think how far our technology advances in that sort of time, it's like it's acceptable that it's not quite the same anymore.
Yeah, and it's not
You know.
radically different, and it's still quite analog.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, and I think they've probably looked at it. So I think
Whenever you're looking at something through that military lens, you lose the kind of veneer of modern life. Apart from when she's on the ship at the start, but otherwise, it's all kind of through that military tech. It's not real.
yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
It's not quite the same
And Hadley's Hope
kit.
kind of has that in it, but it's like it's all been ripped apart anyway. So you don't miss. It's very clever, like in terms of how it's set and whose eyes you're seeing it through.
Again, this is a really cunning use of scale because that's still enormous, but that's a child.
That's a child,
So it kind of helps, but
Yeah.
I mean, but the sense of scale that gives, and the fact that this is what kind of Prometheus ruins, because that he's like part of the chair, and they say he's fossilized, and it's so mysterious. It's like, what was he up to? What is that thing? You know, and you imagine the xenomorph that came out of a 18-foot tall space guy.
Yeah.
But instead, no, it's a flute that plays the theme tune and then turns the ship on.
And then some big albino dude going.
Blue holograms come out.
But even the scale of that, like the scale of the engineers in Prometheus don't look that big.
Yeah, they look about like 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
Whereas that guy's probably like 18 foot tall.
Yeah. And it's like, is he, like you say, it's biomechanical? Is he part of the chair? Like, what is it? And I don't want to know. You know what I mean? Like, that just looks amazing. Let's just leave it at that.
And the alien itself seems to be an extension of this ship.
Yeah.
You know, and it just feeds into the mystery of what's gone on.
Yeah.
And that being a spacesuit.
It doesn't look anything like
surely
a
that's
spacesuit.
like a rib, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like an exoskeleton, or is it a skeleton of something that used to be, that whole thing was part of a skeleton?
Kind of crazy elephantine face.
Yeah. It's like, is that a mouth that it's screaming or not? I mean, you just don't know. But that's why it's scary, and that's why it's intriguing.
Yeah, that's what gets it under your skin, you know. Because, look at it. It looks like this kind of elephant thing. Heffalump.
And its mouth is open, which in Prometheus, that's supposed to be a helmet that shuts, right? So why would it be open?
So I think I did this in Risky Quizness for the live show, but like apparently the blue laser from the egg chamber was borrowed from the Who?
Yeah, right.
I can't remember who were kind of working.
This shot is scary when they leave it and it goes back to just being sat in darkness. Look at that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
That gives you that sense of like things just sitting in the dark waiting.
And that's where it's been for millions of years or 100,000 years or whatever.
And it's got to be millions. And that's the other thing that Prometheus kind of craps on, is the fact that it sets itself up to be not that long before this. And then it was clearly supposed to be this planet again, but it's not.
Yeah, well, it seems the original script is LV-426, but then they changed their minds, and I'm really glad it's not, because then it's supposed to be like, this planet is so desolate and abandoned. It's like, oh no, a big adventure here happened in like June.
Well, in June, but David created the aliens now, so you know.
Yeah, fucking prequel syndrome, man.
Mate, it's just. You know, I mean, look, however you say it, whichever way you square it, I thought Alien Covenant was a well-made film. Like, all these things are well-made.
Prometheus is well-made. It's just a shitty script. And so's Alien Covenant. They're beautifully made. I mean, like, Prometheus has so much nice stuff to look at. Some of my favourite actors are in it. It's got, like, Benedict Wong in it and a few others, and it's just really great to look at. But it's just not an exciting or interesting script, and it gets busy kind of over-explaining stuff. But again, he seems to obsess with the artificial intelligence thing. It's like, you've already done that with Blade Runner, and it wasn't really the focus of this series.
Yeah, didn't we say all we needed to say? It's like, what is a human?
And it all just comes off as a bit pretentious.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Michael Fassbender walking around going like, I watch David Lean and read books. I can play the flute.
The trick, Potter. It's not minding.
Great performance by him, though.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I love all those scenes with him.
No one, like everyone in that brings their A game. Like Charlize Theron, you know, Idris Elba, all those guys are brilliant. There's a TED Talk starring Waylon, played by Guy Pearce when he's younger. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw that online. Yeah.
That's better than Alien Covenant. I really love that, because him in stupid old man makeup, it just seems dumb.
Yeah, it looks very. I mean, I get the idea is he's supposed to be so old.
Yeah,
he just looks unrealistic.
But like, it still just looks like a dude in makeup. Disco.
I want to know why they made us, and it's all kind of anticlimactic because he just beats him to death with an android's head.
Yeah, and it's the same territory from Blade Runner. It's fucking Tyrell and Batty.
Right. Yeah.
From Blade Runner, it's not.
Tyrell and Batty sounds like some sort of like
Irish
pavers.
My nana was we pronounce it Tyrrell, but my nana's a Tyrrell. She's Irish.
Like Tyrrell's crisps.
There's barely any English in me. Like,
no, there's barely any in me either, really. I mean, I wasn't born here.
All I need is Welsh to complete the set. I've got Scottish, Irish, and English. But yeah, you're more exotic than I am. You're the world foods aisle. I'm the meat section. Irish sausages, haggis, British English
I'm
bacon.
a huge bag of lentils.
I'm a big bag of lentils.
Basmati rice and some dumplings.
Oh man, I'm the great unhealthy bland British food.
That we just ate.
Do it.
Yeah. See all that stuff of it dripping backwards.
Yeah.
It's all very good. I mean, it doesn't make any bloody sense.
No, it's cool though, but it's just forgotten about.
Yeah, like it never
like,
does that again.
Because of the idea that it's got this somehow its own gravity or something in here, it's all to add to how alien it is.
Yeah, yeah. And the egg's actually see-through, isn't it? It's like,
kind of translucent. So I think I can't remember if I know like in Eraserhead they use kind of like meat and fish guts and stuff to create the creature. And it always kind of looks like that when they dissect the facehugger in this, like it might be some actual kind of flesh.
I know it is. I'm sure I've seen Ridley say it's like
fish or something.
It's an oyster and something else and stuff.
See, that's great. That's a really great bit of because clearly on that cut the facehugger's already on him, but the way they cut it, you can't tell.
And then we pull back. You know what I mean? It's just that slow rack back away from the ship, so you can't hear shit. You know, you don't know what's going. That stuff, you know, that white veiny stuff that's all over it. That's cowl. That's like sheep stomach lining.
Right.
That's what they make. They used to make faggots out. You know, the
Mr. Brain's pork faggots.
Yeah, that's what it used to be. The skin that would go around it. It was all the.
Right.
Yeah. Can eat that Welsh cowl.
Mr. Brain's pork faggots.
Yeah.
There's something that a staple of supermarkets everywhere, but I've never actually seen anybody buy any. I have had them, but you never see people buying.
They're
those
on the menu in places. I think maybe it's the name that they need a rebrand. Really.
Well, I love Mr. Brain. Mr. Brains sounds like some kind of 1960s sort of horror host.
Yeah, yeah.
So Mr. Brain's pork faggots.
Mr. Brain's faggot.
I remember
Eat a steaming bowl of Brain's faggot.
Is that Ren? or
She ran. Happy, happy. Joy, joy.
I suppose Ren's kind of Peter Lorre, isn't he? Because kind of the cartoons used to love that sort of Peter Lorre thing, but he's supposed to be Mexican, I guess. Anyway, no Ren and Stimpy. Back to faggots. Yeah. Quite like faggots, but you don't get them often. And if you don't know what we're talking about, this is a type of food. And back to Alien.
Just walk it back, yeah.
Walk it back.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I like out the gate, like there's so much common knowledge. To listen to us rattle off the trivia for this film that everyone already knows. I mean, we'll try and cover some of it, of course, but I think it's more important to just give us sort of as much of a unique perspective on it as we can, and try and find new things in it. I mean, I do think there's always stuff with films like this. The great thing is when you've got that rich kind of production design and the amount of stuff there, it's like there are always things to look for. But definitely.
Well, there's just so much fine detail in this. Like I said, I think a lot of it's loaded into small details, and it's just the sound. Yeah, I was about to say the sound design.
Cracking.
Because there's kind of strange the kind of bass sound in this room. There's kind of like a wind sort of rustle, but also machinery and stuff.
It's just designed to put you on edge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of oppressive and give you the impression that something's just wrong. I think I want to cosplay as Harry Dean Stanton in this film.
yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, man.
I think because that's one of those cosplays that people would look at you and then look again and then realise.
Get the double check, double take. I've definitely seen a few Dallases in my time. There's such big things to cosplay, anything alien related.
Right. It's just one of those things, I suppose, because it's it's so considered as a world that people feel like it should naturally extend to more movies. But I kind of just think like isn't that the point, that it should just be this window in time in a thing where you don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, because I love Aliens, and I even like Alien 3, but I just sort of I also could have not had those and been quite happy. You know what I mean?
Now Disney Fox has gone through. I wonder if they're going to put this to bed. I mean, after the Predator and stuff, which unfortunately those series are like inextricably tied. Did you see that one of the alternative endings to that was Ripley in a pod?
Yes.
And also Newt in a pod.
Oh, and Newt?
Yeah, they shot that as well. They had a new actor dressed as Newt. It's just like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Look, we've got a space trucker. That'll kill the Predators.
Even just putting that spear in it, though, means that he was effectively making an AVP film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, can't we get off that? Like, really?
Well, I wonder how much of that was him.
Yeah, true.
How much of that was Fox. Ash knows. That is a very unflattering piece of space underwear that John has.
It really is, yeah.
I'll cosplay as that. That'd be great if you walk around in a face hugger with a face hugger on in that underwear. It's like, oh, I'm Kane.
Ew. You can see Kane's brain.
Kane's brains, pork faggots.
That's an interesting delivery from Scarrett. He's like, yes, I'll take it.
Well, that's what I like. The dialogue's very, very naturalistic, and the deliveries are very naturalistic as well. And I don't think it's funny because it's clearly how it's been directed, but I don't necessarily think of that as a Ridley Scott hallmark in particular. I'm not saying it's something he doesn't do. SpaghettiOs. I guess that's probably acetone on kind of polystyrene.
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff. You've got a hole in your spaceship.
It's the music here, so it sort of works because it sort of seems part of it, but it is weird. It goes beep beep boop beep boop boop boop. Doesn't seem horrible, does it?
It's an odd one, this, because Goldsmith does. It's quite unconventional, really, in terms of the fact that it's kind of jingly jangly. There's lots of orchestral stuff,
operatic,
but then, it doesn't kind of go down your normal orchestral bombast type thing. It's kind of all a bit off and a bit weird. And it's just kind of the low strings and stuff throughout this film, and then the kind of odd stillness, and then the smoky rooms.
It's a lot of lens flare as well.
Yeah, it's the anamorphic thing, man. If you get you get that kind of light on the camera, you get so much flare. Someone asked us to do Moon the other day, and we were supposed to have done Moon in like our first week of starting the channel.
I never finished watching it because I started watching it whenever it was, and then I can't remember what happened. I had to go and do something.
Go and do a shit.
That's right. I had to go and do a gigantic shit.
Oh, don't ruin your pencil.
Or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Now I can't erase things anymore.
You have been erased.
Yeah. You've just been erased. Yeah, except that it's a bit of a flawed argument in that, like, you wouldn't know it. It's a good defense mechanism in hindsight, but if you didn't know that and you killed it and then found that it had acid for blood, it's like it doesn't really help the alien, does it?
I believe in alien canon. The acid becomes neutralised when the creature is killed.
Oh, well, how does that work? So what if you like took blood out of it, then killed it? The blood you took out of it would somehow neutralise.
And then suddenly you're in that Gremlins 2 territory. It's like if it gets something stuck in its teeth and then crosses a time zone and swallows it. Is that eating it? Yeah, that's the thing. It's a shame because I think there's been, because I've read loads of cool alien comics and books and stuff, but there's been too many deep dives, I think, into alien kind of mythology that suddenly it's just, you shouldn't look at it for too long, you know.
Yeah, the Gremlins thing would have been so much easier if you just said don't feed it between midnight and 1 o'clock or something.
Well, that's the great thing about Gremlins 2, because it directly takes the piss out of that.
Okay.
And kind of, it knits it up, because it's kind of like, well, they know it's silly. So
Right.
If Joe Dante knows it doesn't make sense, then we're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should Let's Play the Nostromo DLC soon. I think that's the thing, what we should Dundee. Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee, mate.
Knifey spooning.
Dundee cake.
It's me, Paul Hogan. Dundee cake.
Scrod.
Vagina.
So all that stuff looks like it makes sense, doesn't it? Even though I don't know what that is. I bet most of the people on set didn't know what any of that was.
It looks like it does something.
Yeah.
Crucially, and it looks appropriately sciencey. It's just a nice thing. You spend a lot of time with Ash.
That's true.
Quite a lot of time spent with him in kind of dialogue-free scenes. But you don't necessarily. The only thing he's really done that's sketchy so far is kind of override the quarantine thing, which shows his intentions. He's tipped his hand, really.
But one could argue he may be foolish, but that was just a compassionate move rather than a.
And they really go out of their way to show him as human. Yeah. And that he's always like stretching or doing a little dance or yawning.
Yeah.
And because, whatever you say, like no one in the world would have watched this film and went, bet he's a robot.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about that twist, is like nowhere at any point is there any suggestion whatsoever that there are robots in this universe.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I say robot because Yaphet Kotto says robot.
Right.
Like, he's a goddamn robot.
Right.
Well,
and in the context of this film, it's like almost an infiltration unit type thing, where it's like he's designed to blend in.
Yeah, he's
like
a cuckoo.
You're not supposed to know he's a synthetic person.
because the crew are expendable, and he's just he's just there to sort of bring the specimen back.
But then obviously in Aliens, the difference is that with Bishop and stuff, everyone knows that he's a android.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I like that whole flip reverse, and then I'm just gonna take some painkillers. And some magnesium.
Very good. Very good.
So please ignore my pill sounds. I'm taking fucking drugs, all right?
You can take your bone medicine, mate.
Bone medicine, son. That's the one. Get my femur nice and strong so I can kick an alien in its gooch.
Kick an alien in the thong.
And its cloaca.
Did you know that? Yeah. Did you know that the alien has the cloaca? Cloaca.
Cloaca. Oh, baby,
What's the matter, Kevin? Have you been smoking the cloacky backy?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I'm seeing the pink cloacas again.
Meanwhile, learning about aliens. Yeah. Broadcasting.
You don't say anything informative. It's like you probably know everything anyway. Bugger off.
Get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. And anyway, I bet you most of you have got this on the very box set that we're watching this on, which has got a documentary that's 1 billion hours long, and is great. Actually, I thought
he's drinking milk there. Interestingly,
yeah.
Maybe he's just a normal man, and he's
he drank so much. He got
He become a milk boy.
He started bleeding milk and was full of little balls of milk and fibre optic.
He's a milk boy. Such a milk boy. So this is what's nice about their kind of ore refinery and stuff. It's not, like I said before, it's not 1 million miles away from the xenomorph thing. It's got more angles in it because hard angles occur quite rarely in nature, whereas all the alien stuff is smooth.
Yeah.
But it's not 1 million miles away when it's kind of in relief,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of like, I don't know, but I always thought the refinery in the Nostromo was supposed to look fairly hard to figure out. You can, when you look at it, you can see what's what, but it's like you're not really supposed to know what all that stuff is. Like the big birds hanging underneath and stuff like that. Got big pudding bowls hanging underneath.
Yeah, big pudding bowls in the towers.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's the opposite of what we know about spaceship design. I mean, the Nostromo itself is aerodynamic, but the refinery just looks like it wouldn't.
Yeah,
move.
It looks like it was made in space and stays in space.
Right, exactly.
Well, I don't know. Or it could be put down on a planet.
Well, there's no friction in space. It's not presumably not required to have any contact with atmosphere, so it kind of doesn't matter. But
because then, if it's going to refine stuff, what's it refining? Surely it's got to pick it up somewhere and put it in. I don't know if it just stays in space.
They must have gone to some colony or something and got the ore, and then.
I have the idea that the refinery is like the size of Manhattan or something. And the only place you could build a thing like that would be space.
Right.
And that you have to sort of truck ore to it, and then it refines stuff. But I guess that at that point it's just as efficient to tow it across the galaxy to where the ore is, rather than have it somewhere, go get the ore, bring the ore to it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Does this? Yeah, I think because they don't. There aren't that many specific references to Weyland-Yutani in this, are there? They're mostly just called the company, but I think there are logos for YW, WY, and I think there are kind of things on screens.
Yeah.
I think the idea was it was supposed to be Weyland-Yutani, but it was supposed to be Leyland Yamaha or something like that. So when they were writing it, their idea was that the British Empire kind of got back on its feet, and British Leyland had merged with a Japanese company. I think it was Yamaha. It might be a different one, but it's classic American Japanese invasion shit.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be like a combination of British Leyland and like Yamaha or something, but they couldn't call it that, so they call it Weyland-Yutani. So in the fucking AVP2, they have like a presumably supposed to be Japanese.
Yutani. That's so bad.
Woo!
It's implied as well that when Kane did that, it made it do that. Do you know what I mean? When he pokes a thing and it falls on Ripley, but obviously he came with somewhere. It wasn't like.
Yeah, see, look, this is like that looks like shellfish or something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's just
just the way that it's cut is the fact that he pokes it and then it falls down on her, but it wasn't like.
Yeah, I think he's on the other side of the room. It's an odd visual match, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. I don't know what
it looks like. This is like meat.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like another piece of vagina image, isn't it? Because he peels it back and it's got this kind of labia type. And I think in later versions you actually see the kind of, like the alien has like a penis in its head.
Yeah.
It's like a double vagina in the face hugger.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is an oyster and bits and bobs. Yeah, because didn't they have to put them in fridges or something to? That would have stank.
It's great though. In close up, it just looks like this horrible organic.
Well, that's the thing. If you do that, that make sense, doesn't it, to do?
Because I think in the have you seen Eraserhead, David Lynch's first film? Like it's about like a kind of a couple that have like a mutant baby essentially, and it's I believe like he's super secretive about it, but it appears to be kind of a puppeteered cow's fetus or something.
Ooh.
But then it gives it that look of like something real. Burn.
Wasn't part of the original thing that they were having sex?
Yeah, I think that they were supposed to be having some kind of fractious sexual relationship.
Because that was like a Dan O'Bannon, or that was I can't remember who that came from, but it was like, they just have sex with each other like in space because that's what they need to do.
Right, horror films, yeah.
Mm.
I think me and Toby talked about doing Dark Star, isn't it? It Ain't Broke episode. We quite like to do, and the obvious, because I think on the documentaries for this they talk about Dark Star, don't they? Because there's a very obvious lineage, because that's a kind of comedy film, but the bare bones are very much there. Not that the focus in Dark Star is on the alien at all, the alien being there kind of is an inciting event, but it's not the point of the film.
Yeah. It's interesting, see, conversations like that, one could argue that was their sex, if that makes sense, that little argument is in the place of sex, but he puts the camera in the middle of the conversation rather than behind, so you lose that documentarian voyeuristic moment. But
it kind of ends on one because it's handheld as if he walks away.
Yeah, but it's almost like it's deliberate that he's brought the camera in for that bit. Because most of the other stuff, it's all looking from the outside of conversations and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely the kind of broader vibe of the film is voyeuristic.
Yeah.
Which kind of, invokes the atmosphere of having invited something unwanted into your sphere.
Yeah.
Into your circle, so to speak.
Into your cloaca.
Into your cloaca.
This is the film's cloaca.
Ridley Scott's cloaca.
Act 3, cloaca.
I never really noticed those Christmas lights on the bottom of...
Did you not? Oh, I'm sad. They're not very straight though.
No.
That does bug me, even though it's probably no reason why they should.
Well, that's what makes them look like Christmas lights.
Yeah.
But this is something I used to just put on. I used to put this on Sunday afternoon and just sit and watch on my own.
Really?
It's just got that mood. I love the mood. It's got this kind of still, distant mood. Because you can't call it sterile because it's too grimy.
You have to sort of settle into it, don't you? Because it's because of its pacing and stuff. You just have to kind of.
Yeah, because it's not the kind of high octane war movie like Alien.
Yeah.
Aliens. Sorry, it's this slower, more considered thing. I think. I can't remember. It was like this or Jaws was the last thing my dad saw in the cinema under his own volition. Fucking idiot. I mean, I love him, of course, but for fuck's sake. Right. Brett and Parker.
That's right.
Right. He just passed away recently, didn't he, old HDS? It was nice to have him in the Avengers. It was nice to have him in he was in one of the hugest films of all time as one of his last roles, which is really nice.
Yeah. Is she in Paris, Texas?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm a monster. It's my big pile of I should have seen that films.
Yeah, I've got tons of them.
Right. Did you just go, he's awake?
Yeah.
Come and see Kane. I can't tell you, I'm drinking milk.
Yeah. I couldn't possibly spend the time to tell you that he's awake. Oh, I just did. Well, come anyway. And bring milk.
If we can't find a planet with viable cows, the mission is a failure. Because the thing we've been dicking about a bit. The key thing is about, and it's discussed all the time, is interspecies rape.
Yeah.
Male
rape specifically.
Male rape specifically, yeah. But you're kind of being raped by something with female characteristics, which is interesting.
And then male fear of birth or whatever.
Yeah, fear of birth and pregnancy and non-comprehension of it, and so that that's the broader kind of metaphor here. And It's like, do you remember the League of Gentlemen? Reece Shearsmith he's trying to tell someone that he's got cancer and he can't do it, so he's a doctor. And one of his things is like how John Hurt always plays people that are stricken. And it's like, I can't really list off things where horrible things happen to John Hurt. It's a great little scene. And then he just kind of lists off movies where people have cancer. Yeah, so there's always that thing. It's like, well, they didn't know that the alien was going to come out. It's like, come on, man, they would have spent all day setting that up. Yeah. I think one of the things is like Veronica Cartwright didn't know she was getting blood squirted in her face.
Yeah, they didn't know the degree to which blood was getting squirted.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, like, it's like, well, when people kind of go like, yeah, they didn't know it was going to happen. It's like, so you're telling me they were all given the first third of the story and then told to wing it?
Yeah, there was just a page ripped out of the script. But that's another one of those things where it's like that. If you've ever spent any time anywhere near a film set, you know it's not how that works, and it's not what they actually say either. It's just this sort of like, is it like a Mandela effect type thing maybe or something where it's like people have misheard that.
Yeah, because I kind of get there's truth in everything, right? But like the idea that again they would just turn up to work one day and they.
Yeah.
It's like they had to lay him down to the desk and build up a fake body underneath him. They didn't just turn him over and it came out of his chest.
Yeah.
The effect here is interesting because like later on they show the xenomorph stretching the skin of the chest, but here it's kind of like these little kind of bursts. I mean, it's fucking horrible. Like he's trying to stop him swallow his tongue, I guess. Like,
yeah, because it is, isn't it? It's sort of like it because it does sort of pop up and down out of his chest, but not.
Yeah, it doesn't kind of do the kind of elastic. Like there you go. It doesn't do like this kind of elastic, stretchy thing.
Yaphet's face there is brilliant, actually. I've really watched him with that bit before, but he's just like, what?
It's great. Again, great performances here, like from the whole. Oh man, there you go. Veronica Cartwright just squares.
It's the heartbeat sound effect.
Yeah, exactly. Because the sound design is nuts. So I feel like that effect isn't quite there. I know it's 40 years old, but they linger on it a bit too long.
You know, in Aliens it has arms, right? And here they're like moulded into it, but it doesn't. They don't.
Yeah, kind of vestigial almost. Like
big knob ran across the table.
I love it. It's really deadpan because it just fucks off so quick.
Yeah,
they're just standing there, just go, oh fuck.
It's like it comes out and goes, fuck you.
Fuck you.
And it's like that kind of like, obviously from the point of view of the camera, it runs off camera, but to them it would have seen it like run off, jump off the table, go tick, 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 like
so someone in that podcast I did with Toby the other day, someone was comparing it to the sausage in Red Dwarf. Remember the xenomorph, not the xenomorph, like the polymorph thing that turns into a sausage and tries to take off Lister's knackers. But there's a shot of the sausage like zipping off down the corridor, and it's like exactly what that made me think. Sausage going like whoop.
like they must have seen it go in a direction and like bugger off. Like, couldn't they have shut the doors as well? She should be like. This is the bit we were talking about in reference when we were watching.
Yeah, and Starship Troopers. It's this great kind of. It's really stark and like because this film has so much stark imagery in it and this kind of cocoon thing, and kind of space funerals. This Starship Troopers, Star Trek 2. I do kind of feel a little bit like the Ripley death scene in Alien 3 is vaguely evocative of this in that she kind of goes down into the fire. And stuff.
Yeah. Gets pooped out into space. It's a bit unceremonious though. It's just like.
Well, there's a weird. I don't understand the drive in these situations that you always see is that you have to get rid of the body immediately, and it's like, can't you like store it somehow until you get home? Can't you freeze it or something?
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't you want to go home? So in other words, and the thing is, because there's no friction in space, like you said, he's just going to keep going and going and going like that forever.
That'd be a great twist in like Alien Resurrection if Kane's body just hit the ship there. He's been spinning around forever.
The thing is, like even in space, like he could keep going like that for. If the nearest star is how many light years away, it's going to take him freaking forever. Like,
we're gonna poke this in his ass.
Find it really unsatisfying that no one ever tries to electrocute an alien. They probably wouldn't bother it at all, but you know.
I know, and for people to be like about Alien 3 that they were whinging that Sigourney Weaver didn't want guns involved and stuff. Well, there's no guns in this.
Yeah, no, exactly. Everybody was so hopped up on aliens, you know. This is one thing, like the motion tracker just becomes such a staple of this series. It's absolutely tied to its iconography. But you can't have an alien thing, it seems, about that, which I have no problem with. It's a cool device. It's a great way to create tension and stuff, but every single piece of alien media, there's got to be a motion tracker.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep.
Again, it's a ticking time clock. It's a way of, like you say, building tension.
Yeah, great visual shorthand, because, everything's represented by dots.
Yeah.
Like, I like it in Alien Isolation. If you use it, the alien can hear it beeping, so you have to put it away.
Yeah, nice.
It's just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's the thing they never really consider in this, do they? But it's like they're using it. The beeping is almost for us. It's not. It's almost like it's non-diegetic.
Like, I was thinking that when I was playing Alien
AC Annihilation.
When I was playing that game,
that game.
I was like, dude, can't you just put it on silent like your phone?
Well, yeah, exactly. I'll just use the visuals thing.
Yeah, I'm happy with the little grid thing, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, because you would think that came out, especially in the context of Aliens, that it was a military device. So you'd be like, well, it should have to be silent. That you should be able to render it silent.
Picking the fucking nits out of this, but
is it a Dune buggy?
It's a little surface buggy thing. You get to do all this in the game. Like you go into all these rooms and stuff. It's really neat. It kind of demystifies it a bit. But they do a really good job of making the ship feel, because it starts, I don't think it's supposed to be that big, but it feels vast just because of all these different corridors and stuff like that. Vast. Why not? Someone said that led up their arse.
Yeah, that is a bit of, you can see that's production design aging. That's been like faux aged to look like that. But it works.
Yeah, it works.
I shoved it up my arse.
Up my ass. Yeah, man, they've got a net and a cattle prod. They're so fucked. Guys, come on.
That's a very alien thing. It's Aliens thing, like at the start of Aliens.
Yeah, the flood of blue light. I mean, this is funny. These things are kind of visual things that were carried over into the second one. I think people don't appreciate that enough, because I put quite a lot recently. I've heard it's a completely different film. It's not. I mean, it carries a lot of visual stuff over. The tone is way different, and the structure, of course, and its themes. But that's what makes it an enjoyable sequel. Because Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection don't really carry that much over visually. But as we said in our episode of Alien 3, available now on Val Verde Broadcasting, that's got a very distinct visual style of its own, which is nice. I'm not as taken by the look of Alien Resurrection.
Alien Resurrection.
Jonathan, what's Alien Resurrection?
Wibbly wobble.
Wibbly wobble, my review of Alien Resurrection. Who was it? Oh yeah, we met with someone yesterday who told us that was it you had a piss next to Jonathan Ross?
No, I had a piss next to Sam Mendes.
Yeah, so Sam Mendes. We met up with someone who had a piss with Jonathan Ross. Yeah. True story. I've never.
Welcome back to another episode of I Had a Piss With
Celebrity Slashers. My friend Nick had a piss with Paul Putner, the comedian, at a Ween gig.
Oh.
I'm a bit annoyed because I saw him in the queue. Nick enjoyed a piss with him. It's not fair. I went to cross streams with him, but there you go. Can't have it all.
My piss touched his piss. I'm never watching my piss again.
Watching my piss. We're piss brothers now.
What? Jonesy. That's a great shot as well, because he just ducked enough in time to see the cat skidooing out the back of
the cat actually behaving and doing what it's told.
Yeah. Adios, bitches.
Get out of here, bitches.
That was blatantly someone just under the camera holding it while food bags were shaking in the background and just let it go. Like.
Then you have to ADR everything after.
Yeah. Cat going like. It's must be hard to get a cat to like
do anything.
But be like and get all like hissy and angry like that.
Yeah, that's true. It's sort of like when you need a baby to cry, but it's one of those things that I know babies really cry all the time, but it's just like, well, you little fucking bull prick.
You're gonna die early.
Do you want to eat a steak? You can't. You've got no teeth. You bald little cunt.
Yeah. You can't hold a pencil. You can get feet. There's a string of AIDS that only you can get. So. Film it.
It's more sort of like your generation's not going to have a retirement.
Yeah.
Harry Dean Stanton gonna die.
Spoilers. So this has a lot of. I don't know if this has informed it or what, but there's a lot of this sort of dangly chain noises in horror films is quite a thing. Hellraiser obviously made.
Oh yeah, this is quite Hellraiser, isn't it? Yeah. I mean,
I suppose Hellraiser is quite alien-y in a way.
Yeah. I think it's Ron Cobb designed this. I couldn't remember.
Ron
before.
Cobb.
Ron Cobb. I just love the look of it, all that up lighting and all that, because it's kind of reflective of the Alien design. Because it's still kind of ribbed and textured and stuff. And just watching this again, I realised how much the Red Dwarf production design took off on this, and numerous other, fucking Event Horizon and all these other things. Because it's insanely influential film, obviously.
It's quite sort of got a copper tone to a lot of the structure in there, isn't
it? Well, do you notice, I think it's funny, I always think it's funny how they've kind of colour-coded the Alien films. I mean, Aliens, being James Cameron, is blue.
Yeah.
And the packaging for Alien is kind of green often, but sometimes it's coppery. Alien 3 has a kind of browny thing. Alien Resurrection goes super brown. It's kind of
uber brown.
So this again, it often has a kind of documentary feel in it, but other times, like this scene in particular, it's lots of kind of long takes, and it's in the anamorphic format as well, so it's all super wide and shit. So but it stitches those styles together really nicely. I think a lot of the documentary feel comes from how like performative it is in terms of like, the actors' dialogue's allowed to overlap and stuff like that. And
yeah, I'm never sure with all that, because whenever I've done stuff and I've wanted to inject that performatively, like when I've wanted to say, oh yeah, but I need to cut them off here or whatever, for technical reasons, it's always done like, no, you don't do that. You leave the gap anyway, and the sound people should do, it should be done in post, because you need that clean. You need both things clean. But obviously for an actor, when you look at a script and you know, it's because they'll write it, sometimes they'll be like, someone starts talking and then it'll just be ... and then your lines underneath it. So the idea is that obviously you've got to cut them off, so you have to have that thought and that thing of coming in and interrupting.
That all the way.
Exactly.
God, that sounds like
it frustrates me. I suppose performatively it does frustrate. One example I've always seen of it is in The Dark Knight, when you've got Harvey Dent and Commissioner Gordon on the rooftop before Batman turns up, and there's a bit where he goes, if you're and Gary Oldman starts dithering because it's like clearly his lines run out, and Aaron Eckhart's supposed to interrupt him, and I wondered if that was like a kind of, because that scene is oddly unfinished, because there's that thing about like when he opens the door you can see through the back and there's all like scaffolding that's clearly a set and stuff, and it's kind of like, it was weird. It's the same thing in Rises as well, and there's all those like guns that don't have any muzzle flash.
It's funny that and
it's like, did you not have time to finish this?
Part of the weird, don't want to go into that too long, but the kind of weird PG-13ness of it, when loads of cops are getting shredded by machine guns but they're all dead in pristine uniforms. So I know it wasn't going to be blood and guts, but it's a bit like, well, the fight looks like an action figure.
So sorry, that was a tangent.
Anyway, tangent.
Interrupting.
Yeah, so this is one of the kind of, this is the first close-up of like the adult, I suppose you would, or maybe adolescent, Xenomorph. So it's very tactile, I think. Firstly, as a bit of character work, because there's not much dialogue in this scene, obviously, apart from trying to summon the cat. Him kind of showing that he's hot or needs to refresh, it kind of informs his character.
As well,
he's greasy, and it's just great visual storytelling. But it's very tactile, because you kind of get that. It's really visceral. It's like close up of that greasy face getting all that kind of water down it and stuff. You kind of feel that, which I think is a great primer to about getting a fucking hole punched in your head or whatever. Jonesy.
Stupid Jonesy.
Harry Dean Stanton in this is definitely the best cosplay character. He's got his horrible shirt and stuff.
So this stuff is, there's a shot that has been repurposed. There's a shot, the shot later on with Veronica Cartwright where it looks like the alien sticking its tail between her legs and that was repurposed from this. So this was supposed to happen to HDS. What's his character's name? I can't remember.
There's Brett and Parker, and I can never remember which one's which.
He's Brett because she yells Parker at Yaphet Kotto.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is all the kind of water dripping down. Again, it's a tactile thing.
I think that shot doesn't work where it drags him up into I mean, it's all right, but it feels a bit...
Man, people get really butthurt if you diss the effects in Alien. Me and Toby did it off the cuff, and we got a load of comments about it.
It's editing more than it is.
Do you know what? You just have to accept that some of this stuff hasn't aged well. I still think it's a brilliant film. It's a brilliantly constructed film, which I've been talking about the whole time. But some parts haven't aged well. You just have to accept that. It's amazing design work and staging.
I can still totally respect and love it and think it's brilliant, and it looks fantastic. It's just understand.
Yeah, man. And I've seen this on 35mm a couple of times.
Nice.
I've gone to see this projected and everything, and a lot of it's performative and stuff. And I mean, we obviously all love it. Like,
it's funny how this is. I mean, this sort of funny how Henry. This is a film that. Obviously we've kind of grown up with and seen through all the various formats, and I've never seen it in cinema, but to see it through VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, it's like It's funny how different it does
this
change.
Is classic taped off TV.
Yeah.
And that would be some shitty pan and scan.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous of like so many, all the, I keep having these conversations, but all these kids now, everything's in widescreen natively, except now they've started fucking doing things in portrait. But as a videographer, I've been asked to do portrait video, and it's sort of like, I'll never say no to a client because I'm not an idiot, but it's kind of like, dude, what? No!
Yeah.
But, whatever.
Yeah.
I've also noticed for the Venture Brothers fans, and this might be a bit lost on you, Duncan, but Ian Holm's character is wearing Rusty Venture's speed suit. Just the kind of blue onesie thing.
Yeah.
And they are very, 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 very reference heavy, those guys.
Right. I am not a robot.
Do you think Dallas is a robot? I don't want to worry you.
Yeah, full disclosure, we were doing silly robot voices for Ian Holm, and coming up with all these really shitty ways that he was trying to
Beep boop, beep boop.
yeah. What?
I hope we can return to Earth.
Yeah. What would everyone like for breakfast? I'm thinking a nice steaming bowl of file.pound.
404. Are you thirsty? Would you like some oil? Nourishing oil.
Put your face in there.
I must recharge.
I mean, sleep.
Bye. Bye. 00111.
Again, that's another thing that has just been so overexplained. But in this, it's really great that and even in Aliens as well, it's not explained really what the androids are, because it's they're this sort of weird, milky,
and
organic.
the term synthetic human.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Because I think Yaphet Kotto says he's a damn robot.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the only times you kind of really hear that, and it seems to be what a lovely piece
That's
of
so
camera
great, isn't
movement.
it? Yeah,
Amazing. This ship is so tactile and so real.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's apparently Ridley Scott felt that was the most interesting part of the thing. I mean, the android thing.
Right. Yeah.
Because Prometheus and Alien Covenant are about David.
Yeah.
Which I don't like those films. He's mega fast runner. He's great in them, and it's really great, really magnetic kind of performance. But I never kind of watched this and wanted to know more about the robot.
I'm David. Well, it's just kind of.
Yeah,
I think it's just Ridley obviously has a fascination with what is a human, and that's fine and all. But I didn't think that the Alien universe was the place to explore that.
I mean, if he's so interested about that, why didn't he do the Blade Runner sequel instead?
Yeah,
I'm glad he didn't. Personally, for my tastes, I really like the Blade Runner sequel. I possibly even like it more than the original, and I think Denis Villeneuve did a really amazing job on it. But that's the venue to explore that.
Yeah,
in the Alien franchise, maybe you should explore the fucking Alien. Think about that.
Well, I thought that his headset just fell off, and he puts it back on.
It's Britney Spears headset.
Yeah, it is. I actually think something like Blade Runner, given how influential and reverential everyone is for it, actually the perfect thing was for someone else to do it, because I think Ridley redoing it could only have not worked. And that's not because I don't like Ridley Scott. I just think it took on such a life of its own outside of it that it needed an outsider's perspective on it.
I do think Ridley Scott needs a good, because Prometheus and Covenant look amazing.
Yeah.
But the scripts suck. He needs a good script. He's an incredible visualist. Prometheus is gorgeous. I mean, so much that doesn't add up in that, they've all got Iron Man holograms and these guys have Atari STs. It's they're truckers.
And butthole doors.
Butthole doors. Well, I do think that's quite interesting, isn't it? Because, again, the ship side of the design is quite techno-organic as well.
Yep.
And it is an aperture. It's
I don't think it's supposed to be a bum hole. It's an iris, isn't it?
It's an iris, yeah, of course. It's like in a camera, so it's facing eyes from a bum hole.
It's also got this thing, though, of it's almost like it's swallowing him as well. It's kind of...
Well, exactly. He's going into... Well, you say it's not a butthole. He's going into the bowels of the ship.
That's true, yeah.
Me and Toby had this discussion of it, because in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the opening in the V'ger kind of creature entity, Spock keeps calling it the orifice, and it's all about entering the orifice. And it's
Mate,
this is amazing.
Good old HR would have a fucking field day with that.
Painish.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I said it earlier. I think
the pain.
Yeah, H.R. Geiger did, or the Dead Kennedys used one of his designs for one of their album covers, and it got kind of immediately banned.
You
This
said,
is kind of
yeah.
obscene P and V picture.
What I wanted to create was the P and the V.
The P and the V.
And sometimes the A,
That anus.
but not the A's and the V. Or maybe that it would be, I don't know.
The motion tracker has become such a huge part of
Yeah.
games, and it's in every game, obviously, because it's a great. The good thing about Aliens is there are a bunch of stuff that's lent itself well to video games. Despite it's kind of, particularly Aliens, because it's a big action thing. They do all look like, with their headsets. It's like, hello, Anglia Windows, Dallas. It's a call center in space.
Oops, I did it. Yeah. Love if the alien picked up his headset and was like,
Hello?
Anglia Windows, Brian speaking.
Send more.
Are you yeah, send more people.
Anglia Windows. Ash speaking. I am not a robot. Beep boop.
I'll have to place you on hold.
404, bargains not found. I'd love this. I think there's a discussion off camera about. So there's the Star Beast script by Dan O'Bannon, of course, is kind of the genesis of this, and then you've got all these other people get involved, like Ronald Shusett and stuff. Like, this could have been so trashy, and you so could have had Ash as like a dude in loads of like flesh-coloured cardboard boxes with a face drawn on, just like beep boop beep boop.
yeah.
It's the techno-organic thing just runs all the way through it, and the fact he is some kind of like milk beast.
It's weird.
It's hard. I was
was just gonna say that obviously that bit where it reaches out to him. And in this cut, obviously implied that it just kills him, and I prefer that actually. But the reason why it's not like stabbing him in the head or whatever is because it drags him back to its lair.
and the concept was that it turns people into eggs. So if you have, I imagine this film being what it is, if you have watched the deleted scenes in the director's cut, you're aware of the scene where they're Dallas and because Parker, or is it Brett?
Brett, is it, yeah.
Brett gets like punched in the head with the jaw.
But he's already on the way to being.
but he's still in the egg cocoon.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if that's because. I don't know. I don't know if that's because that was because bearing in mind you don't. The thing of him being punched in the head with the thing is all done in the ECU, so it's like I don't know if that was ever. Maybe he wasn't supposed to get punched in the head. Maybe he was just getting dragged away by the alien.
Punched with the mouth, by the way, everybody is what we're
Yeah,
saying.
sorry, yeah.
Punch
yeah.
like a hole punch.
Like a hole punch, yeah.
Well, but fact is that scene is not in the film.
Yeah.
So, or in this cut. So, whatever. Because there was no such thing as an alien queen. There was no.
Well, I mean, James Cameron owes a lot to that decision to cut that out, doesn't he?
Yeah, because otherwise that would have to be about the whole colony being turned into eggs. And
Yeah.
that life cycle and stuff. Yeah. I do like kind of in terms of depictions of women in horror, this does do the final girl, which is a big trope essentially in kind of horror movies, and like it comes from feminist film theory and stuff, and it's Ripley.
Right.
But the juxtaposition of Veronica Cartwright and Ripley is really good because Veronica Cartwright, you could argue it's kind of the typical stereotype screaming woman thing, but I would argue that she acts kind of like, they're all ordinary people, and this poor woman's fucking been driven mental by this whole situation, whereas Ripley, is in the same situation, but she's a bit more kind of steely.
Yeah.
Because like Veronica Cartwright, her performance really sells someone who's just had their melon twisted by this whole situation.
Of course, yeah. She's kind of the. It's funny because not in quite the same way, but she's kind of the Peters character from Event Horizon. That she's the more motherly character who doesn't. I think when she finds it hard to take all the fucking. She's not. I don't know. It's hard to imagine what Veronica Cartwright's character does in this.
Oh, as part of the crew.
As part of the crew, yeah. Why she's there, but you can imagine she's sort of more of a.
You could. The good thing is, well, exactly right, because they're not military, so they don't have any guns.
Yeah.
So and she's. Brett and Parker are kind of the blue collar guys, and you kind of get the impression that they're the more kind of flight crew. The rest of them, you got a science officer, so she's probably a bit more white collar, and none of them. They've got boring jobs.
Brett and Parker probably run the mining drill or whatever, or something like
that whole discussion in the engine room and stuff, and the fact that they're constantly kind of oily, and the fact that they're a unit and they complain about their pay and stuff. I think that's important.
Ripley's more of a sort of career woman, it seems. She's like. I don't know. You
Yeah,
sort of get the
they've
impression
got rank. She's a lieutenant.
Right.
I'm not going to say lieutenant. I'm saying lieutenant in your face.
Merker.
Merker. Clackety clackety clack.
Are you okay?
Would you like tea?
No, mother.
Hot tea?
Oh fuck! This is a good. Well, go into my kind of links with the Computer History Centre and stuff. I'm interested to see the depictions of computers because this was quite it's retro-futuristic now, but at the time, this is quite. It wasn't how the computer looked or its size; it's the fact that you could just ask it abstract questions and it would have answers. That's futuristic. We've still got the clackety-clack keyboard, and it's kind of like 2001. You know, it's lights, it's a bank of lights, and obviously Hal's just like a blinking eye and shit.
Sure.
Oh no!
Oh, no. Who do you think did this? It wasn't me.
Well, it's the cold, hard, like nasty text on the thing, but it's also hello, good day,
Good afternoon.
are you crying?
Would you like a tissue?
Oh god, we're in one of those spirals, aren't we?
Yeah.
So look, this is all got handheld walking through that set.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch the making of Moon, they had like a sealed 360-degree set.
Right.
They they went in the set for the day and you couldn't leave till you were done. Similar, this feels like a three-dimensional space.
Well, they definitely did that. This because you watch the behind the scenes stuff, right? It's all like it's all very sealed up, which is great because it gives them a sense of geography and.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very nice in the Alien Isolation game to play the DLC.
Right.
Because if you just want to explore the Nostromo, it's kind of cool. I mean, you will get eaten by an alien.
Would you like milk?
I am secreting. You are secreting.
Jam. Jam and cream. We are a scone. Afternoon tea.
So this is it's a very odd depiction of what a robot, but it's quite good. I like it. Like he doesn't get, like you said, he tries to sort of rape her essentially with a magazine, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's something that came up in film class years ago. It's like a symbolic rape because he's essentially impotent because he's not human. He sort of tries to force a magazine down it.
Right.
Would you like something to read? Auto trader, auto trader, auto trader.
Not my words. The words of Auto Trader magazine.
Calm down, Ripley. You have minor women's whiplash.
So because he's diminutive.
Yeah.
He's kind of harmless and impotent looking, but then suddenly when he's forced to reveal himself, he has like immense strength. And everything. And it's kind of I've seen it described as a symbolic rape. And again, referencing Alien Isolation again, you find a guy who's had a magazine shoved down his throat, which is.
And there's all like porn behind her and stuff like that.
Yeah, so this presumably is like Parker or Brett's.
It's got to be Parker or Brett's back.
Yeah. The whole porno. There's loads of actually that's in Dark Star. There's loads of porn on the walls in the quarters, which going back to Dan O'Bannon, and fucking oh man, I really love Ian Holm. He's one of my favourite actors. He's so good. He's a goddamn robot. Oh yeah, and I think he there's a hole in his shirt, isn't there? He
rips it. I don't know if that's there or no, it's not ripped there, is it?
Oof.
That was a proper Kananga jump and hit that right for anyone who's watched James Bond,
Yeah,
Bond. I wasn't in Live and Let Die, but there we go. That there's a bit where he fights as Kananga and he gets his knife out and he does a real like jumpy that's obviously the Yaphet move.
Jump.
Yeah, the Yaphet.
This is what he does have. So in the close-ups where it's Ian Holm, there's loads of mannequin hands with that beep boop beep boop.
That's real hands there though, isn't it? That's just someone doing the move.
Yeah, that's it. They're not. Yeah, no, it's not actual mannequin hands. I don't think it's someone doing the kind of.
A robot would do this.
Spaghetti everywhere.
Look, his shirt's all ripped now. But it wasn't
continuity. Oh man. So this is great. I mean, and this is a whole other, because there is no implication whatsoever that let's see, the mannequin hands there, because I think that was real hands, but
It's like
it's
it's
sort of
jizzing
doing
on him
the,
as well.
so
Yeah,
much
that's mannequin
bukkake.
hands there.
There's no concept whatsoever that there are robots in this universe up to this point.
Yeah.
Or artificial life, whatever. There's no it's never mentioned. It's just a wonderful, subtle twist, and it's not this fibre optics there. That's quite neat. I mean, it's just, I guess that's more fish guts or whatever in this.
Yeah, it's that. I think it's that thing as well of like this poor crew cannot catch a break in terms of like they're just being attacked at every. You know, it's that nature. It's just that sort of hostile.
Even from within.
Yeah.
So there's an edit here, isn't there, from the kind of mannequin head?
To get his head.
That's a great look when they shock him. The actual human hand moves and stuff.
That's obviously someone under the table with their hand up through it. Like, a lot of that gag in this, isn't there?
Okay.
Yeah.
That thing has head flops around. That's a really great effect as well.
Yeah.
I'm not a robot. Would you like cream?
I enjoy
Cream! Cream, cream, cream!
Didn't that all go off? Wasn't it yogurt mixed with milk or something, and it all fucking went off? That's what
And the studio
Henriksen
lights
said.
as
I
well,
think. Yeah.
You can't beat poor old Joe Plato in Day of the Dead. That was real animal guts, but the fridge.
Oof.
They filmed that on a Monday, and it all went in the fridge on Friday, and the fridge broke on Saturday. So it's like rotten guts, and you had to line it for 12 hours or whatever. Yeah. See, the joke doesn't work now because he's actually got a robot voice.
Yeah. Love Yaphet Kotto, man. Didn't he come out recently and start talking about that aliens were real though and stuff? He went a bit.
Oh, is he one of those?
Yeah,
Oh,
he sort of
man.
lost the plot a bit. But what actually a film I really want to do, which we talked about before, is Midnight Run, and he's fucking brilliant in that.
Yeah, see, I still haven't seen Midnight.
Oh god, I don't want to over egg the pudding, but I think it's one of the funniest things ever. It's got him and De Niro. De Niro.
In Midnight Run, he showed to us a lighter acting style, proving he could swear a lot and also make you style. That's from the Adam and Joe
All right,
Robert
okay.
De Niro song.
All right.
It's fucking wonderful. It's one of these things that's baked into my head as well, the Robert De Niro song.
But definitely check Midnight Run out when you can.
Yeah, well,
Something
if
you
we're
should
going to
watch,
cover it.
probably, yeah.
Well, you speaking of Dan O'Bannon, you watched Return of the Living Dead for the first time.
Ban O'Dannon.
Ban O'Dannon. Ban O'Dannon, the spooner. Yeah, you just watched Return of the Living Dead. We'll get into... Thing is, we can't do any content on that because Red Letter Media just fucking did it. So.
Well,
I did a commentary on it like 2 years ago.
Oh.
So I'm hoping anything they've covered I already said 2 years ago.
Right.
But if we came out on our channel and did it, it'd just be like,
Oh, is this replacing?
Yes,
Anyway.
yes, of course it is. Yes, we're taking all their subscribers.
they've only got literally 1 million more than us, more or less. But they're fucking great at what they do, that's why.
Ridley's taking the piss out of that as well. Like, I've seen it with these because it's something to do with the mold. Like they didn't.
Oh yeah, he's
set
kind of
the-
like grimacing. Man, kind of, yeah, human heads are hard to do well.
Yeah.
It's something, that's a great thing now, if you make a kind of mannequin head and you can do some kind of facial replacement with it. You know, a bit of that subtle CGI. It's that Crichton spare head face, isn't it? Oh yeah, it all peels off.
Yeah, and there's this sort of mannequin-y head underneath me. You're like, how does that even work? Because there's no like, it's not articulated or anything. There's just
I've temporarily forgotten the name of the mannequin baddies from Doctor Who, the Nestine Consciousness. They're called not Ultrons. Fucking hell! Have you ever seen that where the mannequins come to life? He looks like one of those, and he did the hands actually.
Right.
Wait, I'm going to look that up. That's embarrassing.
Doctor.
Doctor Who?
Woohoo!
Whoa, not a robot.
Remember, I'm not a robot.
I'm still not a robot. I have a rare condition.
My mother was a fish.
Fish, fish, fish.
Autons. They're called autons.
Autons. That sounds like something you put in your soup.
Or washing machines live longer with autons. Look at that.
That's great, isn't it?
So a lot of this stuff, even in HD, because this is the thing, I have to be honest and say certain things haven't aged well.
Pulling the
But the
foreskin
models
back.
and stuff, pulling back the foreskin of the penis. Yeah, the model stuff is just looks amazing. And like we talked about earlier, the LV-426 stuff with the children in the spacesuits is just incredible. It's just the amount of I imagine there was a fuckload of kit bashing in this, and I just love how soon after Star Wars this came out, used all the same techniques, and it's just this completely evil sort of, because Star Wars Star Wars isn't necessarily optimistic, but it's, you know, it's a big bright fairy tale, and this is just this kind of evil, dark, pessimistic thing.
It's sort of it's frustrating in a way, because I know that like nowadays modern filmmaking is often derided as like people, you know, they don't get any credit for making things look amazing anymore, because everyone's like, you just press a few buttons on a computer, and it's like it doesn't work like that. There's actually still an awful lot of stuff that has to be shot practically, either with models or
visual effects,
whatever. But don't get me wrong, like some things, and the prequels are an example of it. That's an example of where you just create everything in a green screen.
Well, I think that came into, there was an era of CGI effects when it was it's a classic thing of being a new toy, so everybody used it for everything. And we've now passed into an era when people have realised that actually if you use the two in tandem, if you use CGI to augment models and you know, the reverse, not the technology is probably different, but like you can achieve incredible things, and things such as the most recent Blade Runner did that really beautifully with miniatures and stuff like that. And it's been such a boon for kind of gore films and stuff like that. You could do. Who's the guy who has white person surgery and Die Another Day? Who's that actor? The English actor.
Toby Stevens. Yeah.
Toby Stevens. Have you watched Severance?
No.
There's spoilers for Severance. There's an ongoing discussion about whether or not you'd still be alive after you get your head cut off. Right. And Toby Stevens gets his head cut off, and it rolls down the hill, and then his head's lying there, and he smiles because he knows he's right. But it's a great, you know, there's a stump, and there's a real moving human face. It looks really great. Yeah. Really good effect. I don't think anyone
did that actually in The Witches of Dumpling Farm. There's a decapitate a witch with a head, and she starts talking at me from the passenger seat of my car.
Oh, nice. And
that was, you know, for no money. They did that and achieved that.
I swallow your soul, I swallow your soul. Swallow this.
This stuff is very much echoed in Event Horizon, the idea that one person goes off to set up the escape route and the other two have to go and collect. It's that thing of having to run back into hell to quickly grab the things you'll need to survive, which is a sort of Faustian bargain in a way. It's that thing of like...
This does that massive kind of cock tease in that she has to do it all, and then she has to turn it off. It doesn't work, so she already have to go through this thing, and then just to go back through it again, like you say, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And it becomes more hellish.
Yes,
because it's all the kind of steam and, you know, things popping off and stuff, and just the way the soundtrack is like, like it's just oppressive and there's a great sense of urgency to this section of the film.
Yeah. Well, there's that tension, isn't there? I mean, and this is really what something like Isolation, I suppose.
That's when Ripley realised that no good could come from chasing pussy.
Especially ginger pussy.
Yeah.
Hashtag never forget. Redheads unite. We're coming for you.
The alien just wanted to make friends.
In your box, you little fucker.
Yeah. Yes, that's what we have to do with our...
Veronica Cartwright's in like a James Bond intro in that spotlight.
Yeah. Well, is that Parker? No, that's the alien, isn't it? Crouching down. It's a weird thing because he goes and like sits down and crouches like taking a dump in the corner. No, I've got to get into position. Wait. Don't turn around yet. Don't turn around.
Presumably like a chrome dump.
Yeah, the alien poops out of its eyes.
Under its dome. It sort of shits mercury.
Yeah, whatever. I guess, or like whatever.
I guess you would like whatever.
The pipes on the back are quite prominent in this, aren't they?
I like, and this, of course, you know, there's often discussed, like, this one has a transparent dome, so you can see the human skull underneath.
Soap to your dome, bitch!
He's got a willy for a head.
Yeah. I watch this and get high.
Shush down.
It's almost like it has a sort of what would you call it? Like what's the term? Fucking hypnotic quality about it. It always seems to sort of like hypnotise its victims, apart from Parker, actually.
Oh, sure, okay, yeah. I mean, sometimes there's this thing, because I think it's like a fear thing, but they often seem kind of spellbound by it when they go.
That was Parker. When Parker realised he left the gas on.
That's Harry Dean
So
Stanton's.
this is Harry Dean Stanton's legs.
shoes.
That was when Veronica realized she was wearing Harry Dean's trousers
She had hairy man legs. And Harry Dean Stanton.
and a penis.
A penis.
Yes, I wanted the women to have 2 penises.
Oh, HR, you fruity fuck. You mad bastard.
Human Resources Geiger.
Showman Resources.
I wanted health and safety to be
That's
paramount.
My brother, health and safety. HS Giga, HR Geiger. Oh, fucking hell, Giga. The whole Giga Geiger debate kicks off every time.
If it's EI, this is how German.
Yeah,
so he's
but
Austrian, I know, but that it works.
Isn't he Swiss?
Or Swiss? Sorry, of course,
I think
but
it's
it's a
Swiss-German.
German. Yeah,
Swiss
right.
German.
So
But
EI works if they use EI and IE. You pronounce the one that comes
Swiss
second.
German is different from standard German, though.
It is, but I think those rules still apply. So it's like if it's EI.
So what, how
it's
are we
I.
saying Giga?
I don't know how it's spelt, but if it's EI, then it would be Geiger, and if it's
This is how we boost our
IE.
engagement. This is how we get that sweet ad revenue, as you encourage arguments about pronunciation. In the
I think you can kind of do whatever you want, but I know that the rule is this. Thanks GCSE German, that if it's IE, you pronounce whichever the second one is.
right.
So yeah, if it's EI, then it would be Geiger.
Man, German's one of the languages I actually kind of retained a little bit. I don't remember that well. Fair dues.
Deutschland.
Oh God, don't. We're going to get the wrong kind of fucking viewers. YouTube will probably put it on the front page. So, there's that.
All that. As an example of hate speech, somehow. I love this design. I think this is so.
It's just so. It's kind of
has its own logic. doesn't
It's
it?
robust.
Yeah.
It looks solid.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, I guess you would need to still go for all this rigmarole, because like in Star Trek, it's kind of like self-destruct code 111. I can't remember what I think it's in Star Trek 3, like the Enterprise self-destruct code is like self-destruct code 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like super basic. It's like, dude, come on.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You could put that in by accident. Yeah, exactly. It's
This bit, I think, is where you can see the guy flapping the board behind the light,
right.
like coming up. I think. About there he is.
There you go. See, you'd never
See it
know.
again, I think.
It's like because I only know that from listening to Sir Ridley's
Ridley
Diddley, Sir Ridley Diddley's commentary for this.
Ridley diddly.
And then Ridley realised.
Ridley diddly fought the good fight.
He didn't have to put any milk in his mouth.
He crawled through a river of shit. Came out on the other side.
The Ridley Diddley redemption.
The short.
Shawshank Ridley. This has gone into Ned Flanders territory. Ridley Diddley, neighbour.
He actually wrote Diddley. Oh man. Yeah, see all this strobe lighting effect as well. Sort of is. I don't know what that is in horror. Like obviously in Event Horizon they use it as lightning, and stuff like that. But it's like that thing of that. It looks like there's a fan in front of a light or something that's causing.
Yeah, it kind of creates. I like the chaos in this shows that the ship's getting ready to destroy itself, and it has to enter into all these processes and stuff like that. And this is a thing that probably happen. Having to blow up your ship must happen so rarely.
Well, yeah, or never presumably.
Because
it's not a blow. It's not a self-destruct, though, is it? It stops the coolant or cooling or something.
Right. Yeah.
in the
So
reactor,
you deliberately overloading the engine, so
Yeah.
the thing goes to shit. So much is so derivative of this.
That looks a lot like there's shots in Aliens of the Alien Queen that have a similar aesthetic to them.
It's that grin,
sort
isn't
of
it?
chin,
It's
yeah.
that kind of rictus
Which
grin.
when you
on the
turn
chin.
it, when you turn the head like tilt it towards the camera, it gives it that chin and that grin that's quite.
That's when it looks most effective, I think, because there's certain shots that make its head look really wide and it doesn't work as well.
Yes, yeah. Well, when you see it face on, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't quite work as well. I mean, it doesn't.
Still, it's fucking amazing. It's better than anything I could ever make.
It?
Like,
teeth, yeah.
Because to the externals of the ship, it's a miniature with the footage projected on a screen. Fucking, I've got to say, good rear projection. I just think looks so good. It's like that stuff. Terminator 2 intro has like layers. There's like rotoscoping models, and then rear projection, then actual foreground physical objects like life size. It's just incredible.
That and the crashing of the dropship in Aliens is another example where it's like you've got that foreground coordination of it crashing in the background and coming towards frame as Hudson or whatever is running out the way, but the camera follows him, so it just comes out the way in time for that not to need to come into the foreground, you know.
And now you know, you take something like that now, and you get that, and especially kind of models and VFX working in tandem. It's just incredible. Like,
yeah, when you're adding like particle effects and stuff. I mean, that's often what they do to cover the scene. Is like that's why there's always loads of like dust and shit in the air. So that,
don't get me wrong, I've bitched out CGI before, but there's that kind
bad
of
use of it.
Yeah, but there was that argument, and most people seem to be over it now, that like all CGI is bad. We have to have miniatures for everything, and practical. There you go, there's the board guy, the chairman of the board. You know, I'm all for it mixing together and the way the art's moved on and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I hate when it's just loads of weightless objects being smashed together. But like, you know, there's some stuff in VFX now that's just incredible.
That's such a classic shot. That is used in so many promos for this now, isn't it? With their head poking up.
Yeah, that's a perfect trailer shot. Great rack focus as well. Yeah. Like, that's the first thing I did when I first got my hands on a DSLR. Because, you know, before DSLRs did video, you could only kind of get video cameras, and being at my price point meant like a fucking camcorder. Yeah. So you couldn't rack focus. And one of the first things I did was I got my hands on proper lenses years ago. I was kind of like, every shot's a rack focus now. Every single thing is a rack focus, and everything's going to be shot at 1.8. This is going to be bokeh everywhere. Which, to be honest, I'm only just getting over, really. But this needs some... this looks like it's taking place in Berghain. This needs some progressive techno. It's up.
I love the idea as well that it's sort of like now, but I know there's the whole male rape and the birth stuff and all that horror element, but you've also now got the fact that this thing essentially looks like a bit of the ship that's trying to eat her. You know, it's like that thing like she's literally in it. You know, it's like she's almost inside the alien.
Yeah, that's the great thing, isn't it? It's the way that they do the two aesthetics appear really different, but they actually match up.
Yeah,
it's the kind of everything's kind of ribbed, pipes and kind of ribbed for her pleasure, ribbed for her displeasure. Like, you know, it all kind of adds up, and again in the way it's lit, and they capitalise on the alien head looking like a pipe, like over and over and over.
Yeah,
but they like we said in the, you know, they turn that on its ear in Alien 3, which in a scene that I really like.
Yes, very much so. So it left Jones, right? There's a thing in this film that suggests that they want to go after humans specifically, which is an odd thing in terms of, like, obviously this in theory is the first encounter of an alien with humans, but then I suppose that alien is born of a human, so maybe it
seeking it. Yeah, because I wonder if like its concern is the greater prize, and also, you know, chucks the cat down. I suppose, you know, bigger fish and whatever.
It's going to kick her ass when she
mental when she opens that thing. Yeah, because, you know, like I think we discussed this before. There was a concept for the ending they didn't use, where the alien was going to bite her head off, and then get on the comm and speak in her voice. Saying, like, there's the projection thing. Speak in her voice. It looks amazing, doesn't it? Speak in her voice and say, "Yeah, I'm coming back to Earth now. Thanks." So there's this insinuation that it's smarter than you think it. Well, I mean, the whole horror of this is built around the idea that it's not. They treat it like an animal, like a kind of dumb animal, and it sort of isn't. It's got strategy, and it's got some kind of. It definitely has like quite a strong intuition, you know, and it's got a. It's part human, ultimately. So I think
but it just sort of has a mission, you know. It is like a workaround in terms of like it just starts doing things. It doesn't like wait around and learn or anything like that. It's just literally on instinct.
It is a force of nature. It kind of knows. Yeah, it knows what its job is.
Which plays into the whole idea, you know, is that it part of the sort of male fear of birth and rape is like fear of bodily functions that are beyond our control and that kind of thing. And so I suppose being phallic and all that kind of represents like lack of control of body, and maybe I'm going too far with this, but you know what I mean.
Man, the psychosexual stuff of Alien is intrinsic, and it's been discussed in every configuration, so I don't see a problem with it.
Would you like some allegory?
Load program. Matter for.
Sub.
Text. Subtext. 1111. It looks like a Penis. 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 Penis.
It's an interesting Doctor Who. It's an interesting depiction of an explosion in space. That I think it obviously has nuclear connotations.
It's some kind of reactor thing, and I would say it appears to be a similar technique. It's not going for the same thing, but it's a similar technique to the kind of light tunnel in 2001. You know, that sequence where it kind of seems to be optical plates.
Was it necessary to blow that up though? When I think about it now, if I was Weyland Yutani or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, you didn't need to blow that up. Like, if you escaped, why did you blow it up?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, you don't want that fucking thing getting back to Earth, though, right? You have to kill it. I mean, I wouldn't leave the cunt on the ship. And based on the original ending, the fucker would have piloted it home anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just like the alien's there for 6 months making itself omelettes, playing Atari.
Because you've got the Nostromo, but you've also got the
Shuttle
refinery or whatever,
thing.
and she's in the escape shuttle. But like the Nostromo's like it's tugging it's
a
refinery.
big truck pulling a refinery. Because they mine the ore and refine it in those towers, I think.
It's confusing as to what they're actually inside in parts of that, because you think they're just in the Nostromo, but do they go into the refinery?
It's one of the great things about that ship, the entire thing, I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's the absolute opposite of all spaceships. It's not aerodynamic, it's not shaped like a plane, it's not shaped like a rocket. It's this big, strange, abstract, pylon-y thing.
That cat's pretty well behaved, actually.
After that box, would have absolutely clawed her face off. I love. There's clearly a hole in the thing, so it looks like you just put it down a chute.
Yeah, it probably runs out the back, I think, because there's no way it would just stay in there. You're like, bye,
bye.
Just see it like popping out the back.
All right, travel in.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bye.
Mr. Black.
Yeah, he does look a lot like our cat, actually.
Yeah, he looks like Aslan.
Yeah,
he has a box, but
Aslan's pretty well behaved.
Around.
Do you know what? The other night I came home, right, and he'd attacked my wife, my
spouse, load program spouse.
Yeah, because we ran out of food, so I'd had to go to work, but I picked up some food from on the way back, and he flipped out on her because I think he thought we were just withholding food from him, so he fucking went mental. It's like, he never does that. It's because I wasn't here as well. Daddy wasn't home.
Daddy's home.
Daddy.
I've got to say, those pants are cutting her in half. They're like the tiniest pants.
Yeah, it does look like she's put the wrong pants on.
She's like a big, beautiful statue, isn't she? Fucking,
yeah.
really unflattering build bum though.
She is still a trucker at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. She should scratch her ass in this scene. Look, great bit of, they smuggle this in, really clever. Like, it's a nice scare.
You can hear it breathing or whatever.
Yeah. Not very subtle though.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah.
Or high six or whatever it's got going on there.
Hey, homie. We going on a road trip, yo.
Well, there's axes in there.
Yeah,
When it
but then
asks
she
you a
couldn't hack it to
question.
death, could she? Because
There's just acid everywhere. Yeah, no, fuck that. Well, that's a quandary. Like, if she had like a massive fucking chainsaw or whatever, tough shit.
Yeah.
Like, even if you win, it's going to eat through your ship and kill you.
Yeah.
You're going to get sucked through a hole like an Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
Again, needs progressive techno. It's like Berghain or something. That's not techno. That's not a techno beat at all. Techno beats are just hard to do. There's one drum hit every 5 hours in techno.
It's almost like it's got skulls on its knuckles.
It's really goth.
It's got tats.
D7.
It's got Thug Life tattooed on his knuckles.
No regrets. It's kind of this is the most time you kind of spend with the creature, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's never really covered in its entirety either, is it? Or
Yeah,
not very few
which is
times.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. I mean, it's like this is the only time where it kind of moves slowly, and you kind of spend time with it. I like that this is just a great, and again, in terms of visual storytelling, this just is Ripley's fucking resourcefulness. Like, she doesn't freak out and lose it. She's definitely having the worst time ever.
Yeah.
But she's like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm blowing you out into space, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
2 mouths. That's just greedy.
I like the way. I love the thing that's played on as well, which is like that she's keeping her eyes on it all the time, but there's things she has to do that to take, you know, she's got to take her eyes off, she has to turn her back on it at one point, and it's
God.
like, oh, can you imagine?
So what is it in the Alien Isolation DLC? You have to go do the self-destruct things.
do.
Also, the 4 self-destruct things, I guess, represent the 4 pylons on the ship or something.
They could be cooling towers or something that they're
right?
shutting down or something. Yeah,
Someone definitely knows this because this is the kind of film where there's like a in-universe technical manual.
God, yeah.
All this shit is like, if you go on the Alien Wiki or whatever, it's gonna be documented to fuck.
yeah. Like that's probably my favourite bit of Red Letter Media stuff, is when they did the Darth Vader.
Fucking hell, man! Yeah, no, I was talking about Red Letter
amazing.
Media. I'm just saying, like, I'm not dissing Red Letter Media because
We're fans.
We're fans of them. Yeah, that deep dive into Darth Vader trivia. Oh my god, that's such a
hilarious.
genius concept for a video as well. Like,
Yeah.
it really is.
Just
like,
reading the list of.
it's so ridiculous. It's just so overwritten.
Yeah.
It's just like, maybe it's just a guy in a robot suit.
Yeah.
You know.
Like he had like cooling pipes. And
My
stuff.
favourite bit is that he was taken to a hospital with a ward named after Emperor Palpatine. It's like the Sheev Palpatine Memorial Ward or whatever. It's like, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ.
The quote unquote collective wisdom of the internet there.
Oh,
Hard
God.
at work.
That was when Ripley realized
She liked progressive techno.
then they broke out the glow sticks and had themselves a good time.
She never tried MDMA again. I don't even know what my voice is. I don't know why, but I want to join in on the joke. But I can't do the voice. Oh, she's wearing cricket gloves.
She is wearing cricket gloves. She's in a sticky wicket.
Strictly wicket. She's going to do a fast bowl at the Alien.
Yeah.
I just made a cricket reference. I just know that means throwing a ball fast. That's all I know about cricket, and that it's long.
And it makes, see, again, like the noise that aliens make that is oft used in computer games and from aliens, that sort of scream that they make, it doesn't do here. It's just sort of just going. It does a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah,
But it's not quite.
it's got a higher register though in the.
There's a very it is like the Wilhelm scream of aliens though, that
Yeah.
they do now.
It's
that
in
they-
every game.
It's all
sampled.
prescribed. Like, see that again, like covered, because I just don't think, bless him, the guy's doing it is obviously wearing the most awkward fucking suit, and to sort of stand up and perform is really hard.
Operation Donghead.
Yeah. See this bit.
Okay, bye then.
It's like when you're a kid and you hide under the covers because you think that'll protect you.
From whatever imagined thing. I like that the lights are reflected in the helmet. Good.
Yeah.
Again, great visual storytelling. Like, Ridley Scott, incredible visualist. You know. I like it's so fucking that harpoon gun, because the fucking thing still clings to the door.
The only thing is, well, firstly that would have spattered acid all over the fucking. But anyway,
Let's see, it looks kind of
it looks
fat.
so
Like,
hokey there. Yeah. And they go,
I'm going in
it's the
here.
way it goes in there as well. It's just
I'll
like,
hide in here. I know. Oh, it's very stingy.
Oh no!
It's a very stingy place.
it's like this looks like water and a light to give the idea of kind of particles flying out.
yeah, it's
a
like
neat
a sort of
effect, and
particle accelerator.
you
type
can see
batch
it all
stuff.
kind of on the lens.
They'd never seen, in these first two films, getting the aliens sort of floating away from the ship never quite worked. The scale in Aliens is obviously greater, but it's like it's just sort of going.
There's also, I understand, again, this is going back to the Red Letter Media, Vader wiki type stuff, but I believe the xenomorph is supposed to be able to survive in a vacuum,
Yeah,
which makes sense. I'd buy that. It's a kind of crystalline kind of thing.
I'd buy it. They never really do anything with that though, because it's kind of like, what's it
Because
going to do?
this guy's-
Float
yeah,
to Earth or something?
This guy's just like floating about, you know.
cuts to like 20 years later, and it's still just floating through the cosmos.
that should have been the plot of Aliens.
Yeah.
That alien catches up, lands on LV 426.
There's an episode of Futurama where Bender goes to sleep in one of the torpedo tubes and gets fired out when they're going at like light speed or whatever, and that means that because he's therefore going that much faster than the ship, they can never catch up to him.
Right.
There's this great thing that's made of him, like he floats for eternity essentially, and they're like, he gets hit with like a meteor or something. One goes through his head, and he just goes, "Ow!" And then one lands on his chest and starts forming like literally life evolves on him, and then he has like this,
Right.
and then they end up having a nuclear. There's one forms on his back, and they have a nuclear war and shit like that.
Oh,
and
that's like the Petri dish in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
The little nuclear war.
He sort of ends up.
That's what. Like Futurama did nice hard sci-fi stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why it was so great. Like,
It's fantastic. But yeah, he ends up getting. He finds basically God or whatever, and gets sent back through time back to.
so our
present day.
Futurama was so good for those kind of concepts.
Oh, yeah.
I always forget how shit the credits look. Like because the opening sequence, they clearly spent all the money there, and then it's kind of like just
Very
sort of.
raw.
I don't. It's just the font. I don't know what it is. If it wasn't for the stars, it'd look like a kind of 70s BBC thing.
Yeah.
It's like the end of Panorama.
I
or
do have to
something.
say some of the
Roger
score.
Christian. That's what I meant. Whoops.
Some of the score in this I find a bit odd. I have to say.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I think it sort of works in a weird way, but I think it works in spite of itself.
You
really.
better hope Brad never hears you.
I'm not saying it's a bad score, and I'm not saying. I just think sometimes it jars a little bit with what's going on.
Casey Slate's Alien Score.
Yeah.
Actor in Alien Score Shame.
Never works again.
There's that thing in the live stream on Saturday of all the Ronkov did concepts. And Mobius did stuff on this as well, the French artist.
Right.
On the live stream, there was all that talk about tabloid you and tabloid headlines.
Oh, yeah.
They got out of hand. I really liked that. That was good times. This is the worst part of commentaries.
The guy,
Derek Leather.
I'm waiting for the guy. Leather.
Derek Leather.
There's and we may have missed him already. The guy, one of the cameramen on this was the DP for Event Horizon, wasn't he?
Hey, I didn't know that.
Can't remember his
I
name.
can totally see Paul Anderson being happy with that. I give that to Paul Anderson. He made a terrible Alien film, but there you go. There's Mobius. He made a terrible Alien film, but he clearly loves the material. You know, like that's the thing. I carved a minor niche on the internet at laying into Paul Anderson, but he is supposed
Adrian
to be.
Biddle,
Biddle. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be just the nicest guy. But then again, he's a millionaire that's married to a model, so fuck him.
I reckon every Paul W.S. Anderson set is fun. I reckon it's professional. I reckon it's good times. I reckon he does. Bear in mind that he's carved the niche of making film series with no money, virtually. Like he makes stuff very cheaply. I don't have a problem with it. I suppose the
he
rub
does things
that
in tune and on time. That's why he gets hired.
Well, yeah, and the rub with you is probably that he's taken on like your favourite.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's not merely the fact that he's done things I like badly. I cannot stand his style. I really have problems with how his films are technically.
Okay.
And it's a similar thing with Michael Bay. It's not just like I think I'm clever, so I don't like them. They're badly made in my view. But that's a discussion for another time. Well, look, the credits for Alien are quite short.
They are mercifully so.
Mercifully so.
Mercifully
Oh,
so.
this is the thing, man. I suppose in the modern age of VFX and stuff, you have like loads and loads and loads of artists. And when we used to do, Resident Evil films on Oliver's channel, you've suffered through this piece of fucking shit, and then the credits last for fucking 9 minutes.
Yeah.
But again, we always reward those who come to the end credits with extra facts. We haven't done it this time, have we?
No, not really.
But we love all of you who make it to the end and listen to the whole thing.
We do,
really
and
appreciate
we
it.
hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for sticking around. And we will, I guess, be back with something else tasty and exciting,
Delicious and exciting. We're getting commentaries in the bag today.
nourishing, like sweet.
Milk. Do not forget, we're on Discord.
Oh yes.
We're on Twitch.
Oh yeah.
We're on PayPal. We're on Patreon.
Testify, brother.
We're on Tinder.
Yeah.
We're on Bumble.
Wait, what?
Well, I am.
Okay. Yeah.
You download that and date me.
Swipe right on Rich. Yeah.
Swipe right at Jackson. Just come within 5 miles of my house. Actually, don't do that. We got all new things. We're planning new stuff for Patreon and new content and shit. So, thanks for being with us. And, goodbye. That's all I got.
Cheers. Bye.
Support your 7th or 8th favourite YouTube channel by buying crap, tat, junk, hogwash and filth at redbubble.com/people/Val Verde Shop.